There he is. Let me adjust my head.
Just sing.
Yeah, but nobody wants that. I have limited followers as is. I don't want to push them away.
You got to give the
What's up,
audience
dude?
what they want.
What's up, dude?
Not much, dude. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, you know, all things considered in this crazy world.
Oh, fuck this world.
I see.
Oh, can I swear on?
Oh yeah, you can do whatever you want. I'm drinking human blood out of a cup, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, but it's out of a Cyclops cup, so kids can't tell.
Oh yeah, well it's family friendly blood. Yeah, I've been wanting to have you on, or say we, because Courtney will be on in the chats at some point, and then he'll come on a little later. I didn't want to
Okay.
like, because you know how like with the new Instagram you can have up to 4 people on, and used to be just 2. So I would always do the one-on-ones, and then he would just get pushed off. But now he can actually come on and be on the bottom there.
Yeah.
But I see.
I'll be a sandwich between you guys.
I'm gonna try to connect to this.
We didn't lose the host? Oh, there you are.
There we are. Yeah, it was kind of spinning on me, so I connected to the Wi-Fi. I didn't know if that'll help or not. We'll see. Sometimes
we'll see. Sometimes
the internet fucks you here. I have like so much stuff to get through here with you. Little background. Zeke and I know each other in real life. We haven't seen each other in many years, but
it's true.
I believe we met on Bachelor Wedding, right? Was that the show?
Well, you would probably remember better than me. Was that before 2010?
Touche. Yeah. Yeah, that was. I think that would have been like 2009, maybe.
Oh, so not too long before I got sick. Yeah, so like after 2010, I vaguely remember some of California, which is the reason I went back. The reason I went back to it, because I was in South Carolina with my mom, and I didn't really remember anything from there. So yeah, I know that I worked on Bachelor and Bachelorette. So awesome. So sweet. That's because I was trying to connect that dot for a while.
Well, you're welcome for the reimplanted memory. Yeah, I swear that it was I want to say we got roomed up together in the Bachelor wedding, one of the Bachelorette wedding specials we were both working on. I believe that was it. And then, yeah, obviously, like life, goes on, and then people don't see each other, and things. None of that's important, but I just wanted to kind of give the people, we actually know each other in real life. And Seek has his own YouTube channel, if you want to tell people about that who might be interested in watching it. It's called Venom Vlog.
Yeah, it's a very niche thing. It's much like having a whole Cyclops Instagram. Yeah. It's for an audience of a few. So yeah, if you're a Venom fan, at least until the end of this season, I'll be doing the Venom vlog. So we've done 600 plus episodes already. I think episode 750 might be my last episode. So we'll see.
Wow, that's crazy. I think like I've sort of counted Nerdicide episodes. We do it pretty like infrequently. And also, like, it's just, we kind of just, like, fuck around. So, like, I think we've done, like, maybe 50 or 60 episodes in, like, almost, I think maybe 2 years now. So we've been doing this. Because sometimes we'll go, like, a month and not do it.
Right.
Like, like, there's just stuff going on and, we don't want to do it. There's nothing really to talk about at times.
Sure.
I feel like, a lot of times like if I get on and be like, oh, just talk about like week to week stuff, it's like we don't have anything like that. But if there's like a big show on like every week, it's a good time to do it. Like I think we started when Game of Thrones was still on, that sort of thing. So it was kind of like we could just go on and on about whatever was popping that week. Like in the last few weeks, obviously, it's been WandaVision and sort of that kind of thing. But sometimes when those kinds of like pop cultural like zeitgeisty things are gone, we just kind of bounce. We don't fucking get on because otherwise it's just like, hey, look what I bought. Hey, look what I bought.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
look at my cool shit. Yeah. There you go. By the way, I like your setup behind you. I was watching a couple of your episodes on YouTube. You might notice some of them have lights on them now. I went over and I was like, I'm liking this one. I was watching, I think, episode 41 yesterday or the day before, and I love your background. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, thanks. It's just my small amount of the toys that I have out, because a lot of my stuff is boxed and put away in closets. But like with the movie figures and some of my horror stuff, and now unfortunately the DC McFarlane toys are kind of piling up back there. So it's getting a little out of control. But what's funny is like people come on, they're like, "Oh, your Cyclops stuff, where is it?" I'm like, it's mostly in boxes because
right.
I mean, I can't really display like erasers and whatever else, like random shit that I have that just doesn't really look cool. I have a case off screen that's designated just for Cyclops figures. I plan to have that set up in a few months, but I kind of use it for photography. So like until I'm done back, catching up to all the photos I gotta take, it's kind of just that's its use right now.
You should, with the whole drinking blood thing, if you can put the erasers behind you and people go, "What are those?" Like, those are human nipples.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have so much random Cyclops stuff. It's just I don't think there's any way a lot of it to make it look cool. Like I have like kids shorts, like little boys Cyclops shorts from the 90s. How do I display that? Like people are gonna think, oh, he's a pedophile.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do I never tell anyone I have those? Is the question.
I have a lot of young children's clothes in a closet.
Hey, but congratulations to Cyclops for making it that far.
Yeah, I mean, well, the 90s were a different time, man. That shit was popping. They put X-Men on everything. And I mean, I guess they do that now with Avengers. Like, if you walk into a Target, you can get Avengers, like, toothbrushes and stuff. And that's just how it was in the 90s. And it's just, like, it's hard to acquire that stuff now. A lot of guys, I don't know if you saw one of the videos we did was with Eric Jakolska, who is the Guinness World Record holder of X-Men members.
Yeah.
He has things that you didn't know existed. Like, and it's
wow.
It's upsetting because like I know I'll never be able to get any of it. But
I like meeting those people where it's like I'll show Venom stuff off and people are like, that's awesome, and then someone who's a way bigger fan than me is showing stuff that none of us heard of, and we're all just like, cool, I'm humble now.
I always like because there's a couple other Cyclops collectors that I know about that are pretty high up there in amount of stuff. And every once in a while, like somebody will have something that I don't have, and like you just go to eBay. I go to eBay like immediately, and it just doesn't exist. And then I get so sad, and I feel like a failure.
You're like, I have one job on this earth.
I just want to be the Cyclops Guinness World Record holder. That's the goal.
There you go.
But let's talk about so obviously you're a huge comic nerd. Way more, I would say more than me, because I think that you like more comics, and you also, I think I'm a casual comic reader, but a hardcore collector. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like I am into collecting stuff more than I am like I need to read this like 3 times kind of vibes.
All right.
So I just wanted to like go back and kind of be like and ask you like when did you even start collecting comics and then maybe toys, and just kind of give us like a little background on that.
Well, I'm gonna just tell you all this is information from my mom. When I was 5, we didn't live in the United States when I was a kid. We lived in Athens, Greece, and we moved. I think we moved back here when I was like 5 or 6. And when we came here, Transformers had just come out.
Oh, okay.
So like this was like the mid '80s. So like I guess became a huge Transformer fan. and I just try to collect as many of those as we could afford to get. My mom could afford to get me, and so that was my window into this world of like animated stuff and cartoons and comics. Just so I don't bum everyone out, I won't tell people why I was in the hospispital when I was like 7.
I figured I keep going like, oh, I should probably bring that up, or we should talk about that. So every time I ask you a question about like a while ago, you don't have to go, well, and have like a little asterisk.
And then everybody just cry. So I had
That's my goal.
Yeah, well, if you want people to cry, I'll tell my whole life story. So I was in the hospital when I was 7, and my mom, I guess, was just like, what do I do? He's in the hospital. He's kind of bored. I don't know if we had a Game Boy yet. I don't think those were invented yet. So she went out and was like, she was like at a grocery store and she saw a comic book store nearby. And I guess her instinct was, well, I'll go in there and ask the guy, hey, I have a kid. He's in the hospital. What comic should I bring him? And maybe he'll like that. And an abridged version is I kind of was in the hospital for doing something to help my mom, to save her, as she puts it. And I took the brunt of the damage. So I guess she was like, maybe he'll like superheroes. So the guy at the comic store, I don't know if my mom ever said how old I was, because he recommended to her Crisis on Infinite Earths, Kraven's Last Hunt, like Dark Knight Returns, like, all these like real hardcore stories. Oh, yeah. And but those were all my introductions to the characters. So I read The Death of Flash and Supergirl and Crisis on Infinite Earths. I read The Death of Kraven the Hunter. So all of these things were like my first comic books. And I guess from there, I just never stopped reading them. So my mom was kind of my window into both toys, as in Transformers, and then into comic books. She was kind of the person who introduced me to both, and she had zero interest in either. She was just trying to find something for me to do, because I guess I was like a really quiet kid, like an introverted kid. Yeah.
That makes sense. I feel like everybody's little comic things is weird. And what's weird about comic collectors is how it's just like, oh yeah, one day I just saw this comic, or I just got this comic, and then I never stopped.
Right.
It's so weird to explain to people who don't read comics. It's like, yeah, well, I was in 3rd grade and I was at this place and I saw this thing and I wanted it, and then I just kept buying it forever.
It's like, yeah, this one day I tried a triple stacked ecstasy, and I still go to raves to this day.
Probably a cheaper hobby.
I think, and probably better for your brain.
Oh yeah, maybe. And that kind of goes into like with collecting and stuff. So what like toys, especially, because like I really think ever since I think we're now like in what I call the Funko years. Where because of the MCU and other things, there are so many like collectors of things, and like, which is great and bad all at the same time. Because it gives companies money to make more cool stuff. Because like if you go pre-2008, the toy stores were not popping with stuff like they are now. Like you can't just, like, there was a lot less, and it was more niche, and like collectors, were like, you just didn't see that kind of stuff, especially like at a Target or anything. But like at the same time, you have all kinds of yes men kind of collectors who just buy everything and they like everything, which also is a whole other thing that I don't necessarily want to get into right now. But now that there's just so much, it's like hard finding, like for me, like a balance. Like every time there's a toy fair or something, and then someone's like, and then like, all the toy accounts are posting all of the stuff that's supposed to come out. And then I just have like an anxiety attack, because I'm like, who can buy all this crap? How is this, when is this bubble going to pop? And I get stressed out sometimes. And then I kind of have to like just calm myself down and go, none of this is high value stuff. You can get it anytime. If you have to pay $10 more later, it's not a big deal. But like, what are you collecting now? Like regularly, like toy wise?
Well, I guess, so I'm like you, I can't balance it. So I came up with a system about 2 years ago to where, at one time I try to only collect one thing. So I'll be like, okay, for this quarter, I've seen all the toys that are coming out. So for these 4 months, I'm just going to focus on Halo figures. So right now I've been buying the new Jazzware Halo figures. Then I'll go, okay, for this next. So usually I pick a cool, like right now, all the new Transformer toys that have come out, they're like Beast Wars and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want any of them. So I'm like, for the next 4 months, I can skip Transformers and I can focus on the Halo ones. And luckily, there's just 2 quick waves of those, so they were easy to get all of. And then consistently, I collect the DC McFarlane figures. But outside of those 2 things now, I stopped collecting everything else. I don't buy Marvel Legends anymore. I don't buy anything else that was like consuming my money. I was collecting those PVC $50 statues that Diamond makes, and I'm like, all right, I got to stop doing that too. So with me, it's actually, I'm going through a phase the last 2 years, and I'm getting really good at it now, which is cutting back drastically. So like my room at one point, I had as much that you have behind you, and I just kept finding ways to like put stuff out and then box up what I don't display and trade them out. And then now I literally just have this shelf, which has 1 figure in each cubby hole, you know. And I try to just I'm trying to go for more of that approach. And there's a reason for it. Again, I don't want to bum anyone out, but there's health stuff. So I'm trying to I don't want people to like inherit shit from me that they don't want. so I've been like finding good homes for these parts of my collection.
I think I honestly, I think to all collectors who have a very large collection, beyond the insurance thing, which I don't have insurance for my collection, even though I should, I really think it's an important thing to make a will, because and really pass it on to not like your parents, but like maybe a good friend who understands the stuff. I have a short list of like, if I were to suddenly die, and like, this is who this part of the junk will go to, this is who this junk goes to, and make sure that happens. And because it's not like my collection's like super high value. I don't have like a ton of old comics from like the 40s and shit. I have a lot of comics, but I wouldn't value the collection very high. But to a person who likes comics, if they were to inherit it, it would be a very nice gift. Same with the toys. So I suggest any collector who has a lot of stuff, divvy it up in your head or put it down on a piece of paper just in case like somebody gets, you don't want your mom to have to be like, what am I going to do with these boxes of junk? Like, cause they'll end up at like getting sold or something. And so just have like, one of your nerdy friends come and be like, okay, well, this is what we're doing with all of it. I thought about that like a couple years ago. So I have about like 5 friends who would get like a lot of random shit showing up at their door if I were to get hit by a bus or whatever.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, let's hope not, because I still have a full season of Falcon and Winter Soldier to get through. I have a lot to live
It's funny. I make the dark joke sometimes. You can't help sometimes but have dark humor, and I say that like, oh, I could, it doesn't matter what I have health wise, because tomorrow I could get hit by a bus, and I go, yeah, but I'm the asshole that would get hit by a bus and still somehow be alive, and it would just be way worse. So yeah. Yeah.
that would be much worse. They'd rather just go. What up, X Reads podcast? So yeah,
hey everyone.
And then another thing I wanted to just mention is like, I'm on my Cyclops account versus the Nerdicide account, which Courtney's on right now watching. Hi, Courtney. Because I've gained a little mini following on this account with like X-Men people, and have been more so than the Nerdicide page, which we don't post very often on there, so that's why I'm on here versus the other one. And I find it really interesting and fun to have like a lot of interactions with a lot of different X-Men fans. But I wanted to talk to you about it also, because at times I struggle with my own personality being kind of an asshole, and also like wanting people to not unfollow me and like not disappear from my page. So like, I haven't posted anything like about like the Snyder cut on here really, or anything that might, because my sense of humor is like very knifey, and like I feel like people are like, oh, he's a real asshole, and like, even though I'm just joking. So I feel like I have a hard time like really being myself on here, other than because that's what, like if you read my posts, they don't sound like me really at all. They're just like, hey, here's this toy, it's great, I love it, it's from 1995, like shit like that. But that's not really like my personality, and I don't know if you have trouble balancing that, because you I feel like you have more of a following on YouTube than we have on here, and like I also have trouble with like there are people who X-Men fans, because I mostly deal with X-Men fans on this account, obviously, and they are very much like any other kind of new, because a lot of them are very young, and I'm an old man, so like they're like young and they love everything. Right. And they love this, they love that. This is great. Everything's cool. Right. And I'm like, well, I don't like that. That kind of sucks. This is stupid. But, and then they're just like, oh, he's pretentious asshole. And like, I have trouble like, no. I think it's great that you like that. I just think it's stupid. And I want to like, so I don't know if you ever run into that when you're doing like stuff and you have a lot of people asking you questions like about the Venom movies or whatever else might be going on. And then you're just like, do you deal with a lot of just like kind of struggling with trying to be like nice to everyone, or do you just like run with it? Like, do you just, if someone's being like, because like I don't run into like jerks, I just run into people that in real life their personalities would irritate me. So I try to be as nice as I can, and I feel like I'm nice, but like not nice, you know.
I don't know if I put that much thought into it, because as anyone will know if they, have seen any of my Instagram posts, well, it's funny because I think sometimes people, when I post something, especially if it's health related, I feel like they read it in this like sad, mopey voice. But me, I'm just documenting things. I don't have a diary anymore. So if I have like a bad day or like a headache, or if I'm feeling a certain way, I just post what it is. And it's almost like me, I'm just treating it like a journal. So I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what happened to me today. So that way when I go to my doctor's office, he could be like, hey, what was that day you had the headache? Or what was that day you felt depressed? I could just look on my Instagram. It's just like easier for me.
Right.
So I treat it like that, but most people don't treat their Instagram like that. They treat it like, hey, how do I get a version of my personality out there? And I guess I don't think about it so much. So when I do YouTube, especially, I talk about stuff I love, so it's easy to just sound excited about it.
Yeah.
But I constantly run into opposing opinions. Like, for example, right now, like everybody loves Donny Cates's run on Venom, but I'm very critical of it. But I'm critical of a lot of things. So like, I just tell people like, hey guys, it's my opinion. Please go buy the book yourself. Go read it yourself. And if you have a different opinion than me, just tell me what it is in the comments. I invite conversation. It doesn't always work, but I feel like it sometimes lessens the blow when you have a really hard opinion on something. If you quickly follow it with, hey, but that's just me, let me know what you think down below. Because you're almost in that way kind of saying like, it's just, who cares? I'm an old man, who gives a fuck what I think? Like, you're the new generation. If you like this, tell me why you like it.
Right.
And I guess that's how I word things, so people I don't get a lot of conflict on my channel. The thing I deal with the most is when people troll me and they go, when's the Venom trailer coming out? And I'm like fuck off. like because it's usually a kid who doesn't understand, or doesn't know that the movie got pushed back. And also, I don't fucking know, I don't work for Sony. So I have no idea. Yeah,
I think like sometimes I guess I struggle with that. I think that my opinion is really important, and then I'll be the first to go, no, it's not. But like in the heat of that moment, like somebody will be like, oh, what are you, dumb? You just don't understand it. And I'm like, okay, that's like, and then like it's just like then it's like, okay, well I'm gonna rip this person to shreds. And I had a really bad like 4-hour argument with, I believe was a Snyder bot on Twitter the other night. But there's no way this person was just so crazy. They were so crazy that they were just like pro Snyder movies. And I get it, like if you like it, it's fine. But like, you can't just tell me that there is no flaws in these things and it's just like perfect. And I don't get it.
Sure.
And I don't get it because I'm stupid. And that's the kind of stuff where I just like lose my shit. I'm like, I'm not stupid. And I'm like, and then I'll be like, and then immediately my temper goes up, and I'm like, "You're stupid. You're fucking like, like, what are you talking about?" And that's the kind of shit that really irritates me. And then I have to reel myself back in and go, "Oh my god, dude, why are you arguing about?" And it's just like it's like arguing politics with somebody, and it's like, why am I doing this? They're never gonna go, "Ah, yeah, you're right."
Right.
It's never gonna go that route. And I went back and I deleted all the tweets because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna argue with anyone. If anybody asks my opinion on it, I'm going to tell them. And if they say, well, this is what I thought, I'm going to say, well, I'm happy that you're happy. That's my new response for anything about that particular project. Unless they want to know my opinion and they liked it, I'm like, you're happy, you're happy.
Right.
But like I think that's kind of, and then when I'm here, it's more obviously towards X-Men stuff, and it's like people are reading like the new books, you know, and some of it I like, and some of it I don't like, and I don't know if it's just I'm an old head or something, but like most of it doesn't do anything for me. I love the art. I think the art in most of the X-Men books is incredible right now, and I really enjoy all that stuff. But like a lot of the stories, I'm just like, I read it and I go, eh. And everyone on my timeline, they're losing their minds, and they're like, you don't like this, you don't love this. And I was like, no, I've been reading comics for like 30 years, and it's just like, I like collecting. Like I said, I think I'm a collector.
Right.
Now, I've just come to the conclusion that like when it comes to X-Men stuff, I'd rather talk about collecting than what's going on in the books, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Because I read it casually and go, oh, and then I put it aside and I don't think about it anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, I had a friend like a couple of years ago tell me like, he's like, when you read comics for a certain amount of time, usually it's around 20 years, but sometimes it could be 30 or 40 before this phase kicks in. He goes, you've gotten to the point, much like movies, where you've seen it all and you've read it all, and everything that comes out now, it's like, oh, Flashpoint is just Age of Apocalypse, it's whatever. Like everything is like, it's circular. It's like rhymes, and you're just like, okay, I kind of know what this is, and I'm not engaged anymore because it's nothing new. And I think because of that, we detach. So like there is a level of like of that where he said, in a few years you'll probably just move on from reading comics and you'll just collect certain things like toys or statues or original art or something like that. You're kind of, as you get older, most people move in that direction, and the ones who stick until they're 60 and still read the comics, they either just accept things for what they are, or they get really begrudgingly hating everything that comes out, and you're like, well, then why do you still read it? So I kind of like that. I'm starting to deviate. Like I still read a few things, but not as much as I used to. And I kind of collect, but not as much as I used to. And what you were talking about really strong opinions. Like it's like, well, when someone says, hey, you're dumb for liking this, like if I get hit with that, my issue isn't so much that it's a cultural thing. Like it's really hard. I've been spending the last 4 years just studying human behavior on social media. I've literally only been on here and on Twitter just to watch people be who they are and how they act. And what I've noticed is that it is like politics. I've seen people threaten other people's lives because they disagreed with them on who the best actor playing Spider-Man is. Like, it's like, and I'm sitting here like, I'm like this old guy who's just going, who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. And so like, because I think so little of opinions now, including my own, I tend to not really argue over opinions usually. I usually tell people like, look, if you can't come up with a reason why you like or dislike something specifically, then I can't debate with you or discuss this with you. But so if you just come in and say, oh, I'm dumb because I don't understand it, that's not true. I'm sorry. I didn't hate the Snyder movie, but it's not because it's some genius movie that I can't wrap my brain around. It's just because there are creatively some things in it I don't like. So to me, I'm just like, so when people hit me with that, I see that as a problem with how we treat each other. When people get challenged now, their reaction is to demean the other person, and that makes their opinion feel validated. And like politics, people just want to win. They don't really care what they're arguing over. They just want to win. And so I try to address that when it happens on the show. I just go like, here's my issue with what you just said to me. I go, you're just trying to win points for nothing. Like you didn't cast Tom Holland as Spider-Man, so you don't need to take this much pride in the fucking guy playing the character. Like it doesn't matter. Like who cares? I'm older than you. When I was your age, Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man, so I kind of like that version of Spider-Man. So it's just like we're just products of our times when we interact with things. And so to me, I just think so little of opinions that they're starting to not bother me anymore. So that's kind of how I try to get around it.
Yeah, and like Joe, he just commented in the chat. He was like, "That's
I
not
see that."
to me." All I said to him on Twitter was, "Oh God," when he said something about it, and because him and I go back and forth on stuff all the time. We have friendly arguments. Like I know people, like people I'm friends with. I know their boundaries.
Right.
So like, if I go, "Oh well," of course you think that because you think this movie is good too, and that's your way to like insult them.
Sure.
But like strangers, I have been like, and because like I have reeled myself back a lot on this account because like I want people to show me their collectibles, and I want to show people my stuff. That's the intention of the page.
Right.
And then I think like it's fun. Like I think it's a good time to roast stuff and pick things apart. But as soon as it comes into like you're dumb or you're a piece of shit for liking this, then I'm like, okay, well, I always go look behind me. Would you take anything really like what I say serious, or am I really that important? Everything I do is ridiculous. My hobbies are ridiculous. Yeah. Sometimes I go to 3 Targets in one day. What kind of person does that? Like, what am I
do that.
Who am I to go like, oh, your opinion on this is stupid. like I am also a ridiculous person who has ridiculous hobbies and weird things that nobody else likes. But like there are times when like I do think it's fun to debate people, but like I've tried to really balance what like I consider my kind of knifey personality versus like with just trying to like remember that it's not important. Like if someone because every once in a while someone will pop up on a comment or on my page on a post and be like and say something that kind of just puts that little screw in my brain, and I just start typing and then I go okay, and I just backspace it, and then I'll just reply with like an emoji because I'm like, don't fucking, because I don't want other people to see it. I don't want other people on the page to be like, oh, this guy's crazy. Did you see what he said to him about a toothbrush? Like, what? Like, he's nuts.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is that you're admitting that there is something you do that you want to work on. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the reason I even started the Venom vlog. One, because I'm a big Tom Hardy fan, so I was excited he was playing the character. But also, two, as we got in, because I was just at first just reporting on the movie news, but then we would go like a month without any news. So I'm like, well, maybe this is a good time to go back and read some of the comics, because I didn't remember all of them anyway. Uh-huh. So I was like, maybe we can kind of learn who this character is. And what I really liked about Eddie was much like, Cyclops or any other character in any comic, which is they're flawed. So so I started using that as a way to connect with the viewers. And I said, look, I'm flawed too. And actually, when I started the show, I'm like, these are things about my personality I don't like. Like I have a short fuse sometimes. I have this. I have these problems. I said, so why don't we explore those while we explore Eddie and his faults? And let's watch Eddie progress and become a better person. And maybe it'll rub off on me. And then what I did was I was working in comics at the time. I quit, like just on a dime. I was like, I'm going to quit working in comics, and I'm going to go to a place that is going to force me to take shit from people and teach me to have thicker skin. And I went right to retail. and I worked at Lego, and where there's a lot of high passions and hardcore fans. And I've been threatened to be killed by a customer before. I've had people threaten to go on Twitter and blast me and tell everyone I'm the worst and get me fired. Like, I've had all kinds of things, and it put a perspective on me on how to face such harsh criticisms, and then see past that criticism and realize when people bark at you like that, it actually has nothing to do with what you're doing wrong, and it has everything to do with something they don't like in themselves that they're not addressing. Yeah. So to me, once I saw that and started to understand, because you hear psychologists and people say all the time, and you're just like, weird shit. But when you experience it like the way I had, I was kind of like, this is the thing I need to work on, the thing in me that I don't like. Yeah. And then over time, I just learned to get thicker skin and more patient with people, and I just let them vent. And one day this guy vented, and he like chewed me out. He threw his card at us. Like, he was like just screaming and screaming. And I finally said, look, man, what's going on? Like, what's going on with your day? Like, I understand you must be having a bad day. I go, so my job, dude, I just sell toys. That's my job at Lego. I just sell toys. So I'm not here to ruin your day. I'm not here to do anything wrong. I'm not here to I'm just enforcing a policy. I can't do what you're asking me to do, but here's what I can do. Please meet me in the middle here, and let's work on this. And he came around, and he actually left a really nice Yelp review later. And it's like, I saw that. I'm like, you can get through to people if you just talk to them like people. Because people are online every day, and they're used to just being demeaned. They're used to someone coming at them and going, well, you're dumb because you don't understand this, or you're this, or you're that. And they get labeled as something that they're not actually are. And they're used to it. So now it's rubbed off, and they go do it in real life now. And so I'm like, just don't add wood to the fire. That's my main thing now, is I just try not to add wood to the fire.
Yeah. I totally agree. And that's a thing that's like, that I've been trying to just tell myself. It's just like, it's
hard. It's not easy to, it's hard.
It's not important. None of it is important. It's like, I still have to does the Snyder Cut pay for my cell phone bill? No, shut up. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
But if you wanted it to, you could make a whole channel just ripping that movie apart, and you would have a very divisive audience come in there to hate and like you. And that's the thing, is like, but I don't like because people always ask me, why don't you just make the easier content? Why don't you talk about controversial things or rumors or leaks or things like that? And I said, because it's easy, and to me, I see it as a form of grifting or manipulation. I'm like, I'm just here to talk about Venom, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. And if you agree or don't, that's all I'm here for. That's all I'm going to do. And one day the show will end, and I will then maybe go off and talk about another character at some point. So to me, that's what it is. So like you said, that's a good mentality to start with, to move past it, which is, who fucking cares? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's kind of a thing I really wanted to talk to you about, because of everything you said, your headspace and all in that area is like, I think because of this stuff has, let's just say, comic book movies or popular culture is now the zeitgeist. Like, when we were kids, it was just a side thing. No one really was paying attention.
Right.
I'd say a couple of my friends knew what comics were, and the rest didn't. That kind of thing. Right. Now, because of movies and TV shows and everything else, it's a part of the culture at large. And so right. Now you have this thing which we talk a lot about on here, which is toxic fandom, which I always feel like I'm running into. And the Snyder thing, just put that aside, because there's been worse instances of things that have happened than, although, Snyder's story is also one of tragedy. So
right.
There's that aspect to it, but there's the Star Wars fandom is really toxic. I feel like MCU can be, but still more the comics readers are more toxic than the movie watchers, because the movie watchers started when they were young, They're
right.
I feel like they're younger. If a movie or show comes out and they cast somebody as a different race or ethnicity or sex, no one, those watchers don't lose their minds. But if you do that in Star Wars, all of a sudden you have like death threats on the actors page and stuff.
Right.
And that shit like really bugs me, really bugs me about, and then I always feel like I'm like, am I a part of this, like this nastiness? Because I'll be online, you know, like talking shit about stuff, but like not to, obviously to not to agree, I would never go to an actor's page who got hired on something like, you're ruining this, because
sure, right,
literally like getting a job.
They're doing a job.
They're just like getting a check. They don't give a shit about whatever.
It's like yelling at a janitor for mopping in circular motions. You're like, who fucking cares? Let the janitor mop however they want to mop. Yeah. Like, who cares? Yeah.
And I run into it, and the comics are still bad because, again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, where like, if you've been reading comics for a long time, why should anything even bother you? Because, like, oh god, in this next they're doing an alternate version of Cyclops, and he's a lady, he's a black lady, and that they should never do that. And it's like, and on what planet are comics storylines permanent, and like every 2 years it's just like a recycle, and like they're just throwing stuff at a wall to see what sticks and make money.
That's it.
And just like there was something, because I have a lot of Ohio people on my Facebook, and a lot of them are not very tolerant, and they just were sharing about like this. I didn't even read the article. It's something about like a gay Captain America character, and they're just like, they're roasting it, and I was like, Marvel doesn't hate straight people or trying to erase.
No, right.
They like gay people's money. Like, I don't understand what you don't.
Right. Yeah. They're in a business. They're trying to.
They're not.
Right. They're trying to hit other demographics. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that people get mad. Fucking Disney, they're ruining Star Wars, and I'm like, oh, they see young people, they see a country changing of different races and ideals, and go, we want money from them.
Right.
We don't want. We already got your 60-year-old ass is already giving us all the money you got.
Yeah. Right.
Like, now we want the little girl next door to give us our money. Like, I don't. People get so worked up about that kind of stuff, and it just drives me nuts. And I don't know what it is about our culture, and just like, and do you think that like, I sometimes think that like fans, I understand loving characters and being passionate about it, but they take ownership of it in a way that I feel like is so unhealthy, like all the time.
Yeah, I think I addressed that exact thing the other night. I said the thing is, we don't own these characters. These characters, the reason why Superman is still here today and we're fighting over the Snyder Cut version of him is because over the course of his 80 years, he's been translated 1,000 different ways. Right. So everyone literally has their version of Superman that they feel like is like, oh, that's the one I like. The problem nowadays is because of how politics work and how the world works and how companies work, they want you to feel like you own it because you'll buy all the toys, you'll buy all the posters, you'll buy all the lunch boxes. They want you to feel that connected to the character. They want you to go on social media and say, you know, this movie changed my life. It impacted me in this way. They want you to feel that connected to it because they can mine money off of you, like you said. But in the meantime, they know that's also going to kind of make you yell at people who don't like it. And they can sit there and play dumb all they want and say, no, we have no, we can't take any ownership of how fans react online. It's like, yes, you can. You know what you're doing by purposely putting things in that will divide people. You want that argument and debate, so that way you don't have to spend as much money marketing. You can literally let the hashtag trend for 4 days because people are fighting over it. Exactly. So it's like, so everyone's just a pawn, and and their opinions don't actually matter at all. And so, like, to me, that's why I'm like, don't get worked up. Like, you like Henry Cavill Superman. That's awesome. Because you do, that means, and because I like a different version, that means that Superman is probably going to live another 80 years. So it's like, so to me, we need each other. We need someone to love the Snyder Cut, and we need us to not be a big fan of it. It's symbiotic. We have to coexist. Otherwise, Superman dies. If we get one version of Superman, and it's like, that's it, everyone, he's like this forever, then people are just they're going to walk away from the character. So So to me, it's like we need each other, and but companies don't want us to feel that way, and government doesn't want us to feel that way. So they're just like, fight, and you're just like, because I go to Comic-Con. I used to go for many years in a row, and I stopped going because it felt like going to a political rally. Like I'd be sitting there in Hall H, and they're just like people screaming and throwing stuff and arguing, and I'm just like, I'm out of here. Like I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, a lot of times, I think we always talk about every time basically like a genre or a franchise resets, everyone loses their mind.
Yes.
So like, but what I don't understand about it, like, cause like so like they make a new Star Wars trilogy, and like it's women and people of color, and everyone's losing their mind. They act like the other stuff just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I know. They're like, oh, that's it. This version from here on out, that's the only version. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, there's still like everything behind us still is there.
Yeah, it does not erase. It's like, oh, that band you like released a techno album, and now it's just like you're mad about it. And like, it's like, who gives a shit if you like? And those albums they recorded and songs that you like still exist.
Right.
The original Star Wars movies, they're not gone. Like you can still watch them and go.
You can go watch. There's like 7 different versions you can watch.
Yeah. It doesn't go away, and that's why I don't understand why people get so nuts over it.
You'll appreciate this as an X-Men fan, but I think I don't remember when I did this. It might have been on Twitter, but I posted a picture of Giant Size X-Men #1, which is arguably one of the best X-Men comics out there, and save that franchise because that was a book that was already canceled. Yeah, and I put the cover up and I put SJW trash because if you look at that cover, no one in that cover is from America.
Yeah.
It is the most diverse group. You have Storm, Sunfire, Banshee, who's from Ireland. You got a Russian in Colossus. You got a German in Nightcrawler. You have this team and you have a Canadian in Wolverine. Like, you literally don't have any white Americans there. The only American there is the Native American guy. So, like, and I go, if that comic, because someone was talking about the new comic, the X-Men, where they're all like it's like a black woman Cyclops and like they changed all of them, and they showed the cover to #1. So I put that side by side, and I said, like, SJW trash. And I go, and my point was, if like, first of all, this has happened before, so getting mad about it is nothing. I go, but look what happened. The last time they did something where they brought in a diverse cast, it saved the X-Men, and they did it in like the late 70s, early 80s. So 1, this is not new, but 2, it's nothing to get worked over, because if you're an X-Men fan, you probably grew up with the Claremont stuff. You know, like very few hardcore people are still around from the Stan Lee Kirby days. So to me, I'm like, this is the stuff you have to love. You grew up reading characters that were from a different lifestyle than you. So it makes no sense to be mad about it as an X-Men fan. So I love that I showed that. And some guy at Marvel wrote me and said, dude, that was the best way to make that point ever. And I go, yeah, because it's frustrating. Like, that was the most diverse cover, and none of us thought for 1 second when that book came out that this was some agenda being pushed on us. We were just like, who the fuck are these guys? They look cool.
Yeah, like, I love the kind of people who are like, when every time when like there's like something announced and they're like, oh well, this character like even like a few years ago, Thor is a woman now, and like everyone's mad about it, and I'm just and you'll see these people that comment like, keep politics and stuff out of comics, and I'm just like, and then they'll be like, what are your favorite comics? And like, X-Men. I'm like, okay. What have you been reading about in the book? What have you been reading in there?
Which X-Men book did you read that didn't have politics in it?
Or the best people will be like, oh, I really like Watchmen and stuff, and you're just like, bored. What are you even talking about?
Apolitical, that book. But that's what's funny is like the people who make those YouTube videos or make that content out there that riles up. So it's like what you're getting in comment sections are just kids regurgitating what these stupid assholes are saying. They don't actually have a real independent thought. It goes back to what I said earlier about them just demeaning people or making a buzzy, point to kind of like rile things up. They don't actually believe that. They just say things. And so like those people out there who are making the YouTube content, calling it SJW garbage, saying it's an agenda, they're just grifters. Like that's all they are. They found a way to monetize your hate. That's how it is. Or to, and not even your hate, but just be like, we need to be mad at something in the world, because like the government does, they'll get you pissed off over something. And usually when people are pissed, they spend more money. And so that's what these guys do. They just observe. They're old enough to know, oh, if you just piss people off, they'll come here to your channel, they'll click their like, and then they'll comment, and then you'll get in their head. Then they'll go spread that to someone else, and that'll bring more people to your channel. It's just a grift. It's a not even that creative of a grift. So when people tell me like, oh, you should have more subscribers, you should have more this, and I go, but I'm not here to grift you. I'm just here to talk about Venom. I'm actually one of the few, like you're here to talk about Cyclops or X-Men. It's like, we're just here for the purity of the thing. We would like other people to join us, and we would like other followers and make money at this probably, but the reality is we just doing it because we love it. Yeah. And it's like, but that doesn't sell. So people are just like, oh, it's like, that's the thing is people come to my channel and they have rational conversations. and I'm starting to think that people are doing it now because they never have it anywhere else. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'd rather be the channel that fosters that in the comic book community than be one of the other guys. Even if it means I have a lot less subscribers and money than them, I still, at the end of the day, I am home alone by myself with my soul. And I just, and I judge me harsher than anyone else does. So I don't want to be like those guys. Like, that's great that they're doing it and they're making money and they figured out how to, push people's buttons. But I just ain't one of those people.
Yeah, and then you have the alternative side of that where like there's people when they want to like just end your career because you said something 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, right.
And so it's just, I feel like it's like a really weird time to be online where you find like a community page or something, and then it's supposed to be where everybody is just talking about like things that they love, and then they're just arguing about shit, and I'm guilty of it too. You just get so worked up about something so insignificant, and like the cancel culture stuff. What was that thing with Tom King a while ago? What did he say?
With Jay Lee.
Jay Lee, yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, that's a stupid thing to say, but like also like he apologized, so like, why are we still talking about it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel like, just like when I'm talking, like telling you, like, oh, I was arguing with like a Snyder bot for 5 hours, and I was like, why did I do that? I was just like in a heated moment, and it was dumb. I'm not going to apologize to that person because I didn't like do anything to them, to their career or anything, or take money out of their pocket. But it was dumb, and I was like, we are, stupid humans, and there's to a degree where like I consider myself, full libtard, very, I have lots of empathy for all people and stuff. But I also think, like, if you said something when you're 15, 16, it's meaningless. And
sure.
And I want to ask you about X-Men and the MCU. Do you think that they are going to rename X-Men the Mutants, like full on, because it says men in the title and doesn't address female? Because Kevin Feige said during that con or that live thing, and he said the mutants. He didn't say X-Men. He clearly said mutants. You will talk about the mutants later. And there's been like this thing online of people talking about it. And that's where I go. And then I'm the old man in the yard with my fist up like, oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare. And then I go, oh God, am I one of these people now? Am I the guy? Am I the Star Wars guy now? Like, is like so fucking like,
well,
you're only the name of X-Men.
you're only that guy if you make like 50 videos on it. I mean, having an opinion is like I said, it shouldn't really hurt anyone's day. If you're having an opinion on something like a comic book thing or a movie or a song, like I don't know why that we allow that to ruin our lives. But people melt down. They're like, you like that? Fuck you, you know? And it's like, dude, chill out, man. I just said I like cheese. What the fuck, you know? But everything is so like you have to pick a side these days, and it's very cult-like and very like war-like, and I don't like either of those things. So for me, like I said, it all stems from the same place. The reason why we're all dumb and say the things that you were just talking about is because we're all angry all the time. So the first thing I wanted to work on with myself was anger. Like, I'm like, I don't want to be angry about everything all the time, because if I am, then I will never be able to think clearly ever in any situation. Right. So to me, I'm like, I'm done letting some politician tell me when to be angry about stuff. I'm tired of this person online tell me when to be angry about stuff. Like, they don't know me and they don't care about me. Only I can decide if I should be angry about something. So I agree with you. To me, I don't care if people want to they do whatever they want, as long as it doesn't physically hurt anybody or even emotionally scar them. But there's another problem, because earlier we were talking about fandoms and how people act, like you were saying, the toxicity. But there's another problem in fandoms that we've been experiencing for the past 10 years, which is when these fandoms, now that it's part of pop culture, comics and all these things, there's a community that it draws in, and it's a lot of time it's people who are vulnerable in some way because they see themselves in a hero or they're inspired by a hero. And usually you're vulnerable when a fictional character has that kind of impact on you. And then you have these creeps that infiltrate those communities and take advantage of people who are vulnerable, like a cult, like some people in cults do. So right. I just try when I do the Venom vlog, like I hate when people say they're fans of mine. I get so fucking mad. I go, you're not a fucking fan. Just say you're a friend of mine. Just be my friend. And I go, and we use the catchphrase, "We are Venom," for like a unity thing. Like, hey, we're all in this together, but we are able to criticize each other. Yeah. So if I say something, you guys can criticize me. If you say something, I'm able to criticize you. But that's how we act in a society, and that's how we should act. And I thought it would be fun and ironic to have the Venom community be one of those communities that isn't full of pieces of shit. But unfortunately, it does have pieces of shit in it, like every other fandom does. So there's no perfect thing ever, obviously. But we just try our best. And I think your direct question about I'm sorry, if you can reword it for me.
I just want to know if you think, because of, I guess not necessarily wording it cancel culture, but because of everything trying to be so PC to appease everyone, do you really, I don't know if I would use the word concerned, because I don't think I'm concerned. Right. But I would like X-Men to still be called X-Men, even though I am completely aware that the female characters in X-Men are the most powerful and the most stable. Like, I'm completely aware, and you can.
I ran into this actually myself. I'm right now. I'm writing a trilogy of novels. It's a sequel to Peter Pan, and it's called The King of Neverland. And in it, I actually had this debate with two of my editors if we should call the Lost Boys the Lost Boys, because there actually are girls in the Lost Boys. And we were debating that, and I was like, well, is it PC to call them lost people or the lost, or is it like, is that too PC? You know, and we were going back and forth on it and stuff. And in the end, I was like, well, there are 3 girl members, and there's like 4 guys, I think, and then the Wendy and her brother show up. So it goes like 4 or 5 girls, and then 6 or 7 guys. But I still at the end was like, they're the Lost Boys. And actually, I literally have 0 debate about it in it, because I think that was the landing that we hit, was like, all right, if you're going to call them Lost Boys, then you can't have a conversation in there where people address it, where someone goes, well, I'm a girl. Why are you're a girl. Why are you called the Lost Boys? You know, because once you paint that. I just wanted it to be like Star Trek, where I love that episode of Star Trek where I think it's like Abraham Lincoln shows up, and he calls Uhura. He said he doesn't say the actual N word, but he says an N word, and he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because that's a term in my time, and she's like, "What the hell is he talking about?" It's like in the future, she doesn't even know what the N word is. No. And I said, that's how I want to address the Lost Boy thing. They don't even think about it. And so that's kind of how my solution for that. So for X-Men, to me, they're called the X-Men. I mean, that's just the name of the team. And we can all debate, well, yeah, that was the name because in the 60s it made sense. And it was mostly men. And then they brought in Jean Grey and whatever. And it's like, sure, but that's the brand. Like the brand is the X-Men. That's the thing that made them billions of dollars up until this point. So to lose that for a word like mutants, which is kind of a derogatory term in some ways, also from their last movie, New Mutants, which was not a financial success and made them no money. Like to me, I'm like, it makes zero business sense to do that.
I hope it goes that way, and I hope they do it because they have that cringy line in Dark Phoenix where Jennifer Lawrence straight out says it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't,
and then it takes you completely out of the movie, going, "Oh my God, let's debate this." I'm just like, why would you say that out loud? You should just know as an X-Men fan and as a reader and a person who now it's the case in the MCU as well. You have to just accept. You need to accept that Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch are the most powerful heroes in the MCU, and just let it wrap around your brain and accept it and move on. Who cares? Like, who fucking cares? That's that whole toxic thing where every time they give the female character too many powers, like, well, she can just do this and she can do that, and then you don't question why Thor is so hard to kill. You never go, why is he so hard to kill? And it's like, because he's a god, and it's like, oh, and you just accept it, but oh, why is Captain Marvel so strong? And they just go on and on and on because it makes them so mad. And it's like, why does it make you mad? She is very strong. Who cares? But
right.
And that's the thing. You should just accept in X-Men that Jean Grey, obviously on the OG team, is the strongest, and just get over it. So who cares?
Right.
I don't think. I hope just because I don't want whatever they do with X-Men to be controversial right out the gate. I don't want it to be an out of the gate argument where people just immediately going, let's fight.
Right.
I don't want it to be a division because X-Men of all things
should unite.
I think a lot of young people they trash the old movies and stuff, and for a lot of it good reason, but you watch that first X-Men movie and the tone that they set in an hour and 15 minutes or whatever the fuck it was. They told you exactly what that was. They set the tone so well of what the X-Men represented. I didn't care what they were wearing or what they did with the character storylines. They got it right. We're persecuted and feared because we're different, but we still want to help people because it's the right thing to do. Boom. That's what you
That's it.
Right.
Right.
That's all, and that's what I want it to be, and I don't want it to be
But see, the problem is because I started doing an X-Men show for a while. The problem is I can't for a couple of years I couldn't talk about X-Men on my YouTube channel because every single movie that came out from Days of Future Past to Logan, I had early access to when I lived in California, and I saw them way before they came out, and even a couple times gave notes of things that people missed, well, I don't know if I can say any of them, but so I couldn't really talk about something I loved. I love the X-Men. I have an Ensa Benora tattoo on my arm with the X logo and stuff, and I love these characters, and so for me it was a big deal to be a part of something like that, even on the tiniest scale that I was on. But that, I guess. Oh man, I had a point I was going to move towards, and now I'm blanking on what it was. But with the franchise in general, it's what you said it is. It should unite people. That first movie did set that tone. And at the end of the day, like, I don't know, I guess the message that you said, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm persecuted, but I still want to help people, even if they hate and fear me.
Yeah.
The problem with that idea is I think it is too heroic for how we act today. Because people who are persecuted now just want to fight back against the people that are persecuting them, which makes sense. That's a very human thing to do also. But I hope and I'd like to believe that if push came to shove, someone who was persecuted would still save someone's life regardless of how they felt about them. I'd like to believe people are still good at their core, and that's why I hope whatever version of the X-Men they make coming up with the MCU does have that, because I think that is a valuable thing. Like, I had to learn, that was the hardest thing, because I'm definitely on the left too, but I think I was further than I was maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. And now I'm kind of like, I'm not in the center, because that's a little too close for me to fence sitting, I guess. But so I'm still on the left, but I do have, like, you know, I grew up in, I guess, in other places, but I have like Athens, Greece, Biloxi, Mississippi, South Carolina, you know, these kind of places that I've lived in. And so I can see, I can understand people's perspectives, I guess. And I try to work on that. And so I'd like to believe that if someone got hit by a car and they needed to be pulled out of that car, I wouldn't stop and ask them if they were Republican or Democrat or if they were gay or straight. I would just pull them out, because it's the right thing to do. It's, you have to save someone. Like, at our core, we have to have that in us. And that's what the X-Men represent. So to me, I hope that message is in there, but I just don't see that acted out a lot with people nowadays. But that's because media and politicians and stuff, they want to just show our ugly side because that fits into their narratives. But I bet you there are a lot of people out there that would do those kind of things and do those kind of things, but it's just kept from us to make it feel like there's no hope. And when you get people who feel hopeless and they get desperate, then they get angry, then you can program them and make them stupid and do whatever you want. And I don't like being puppeted by, no one's hands up my ass, you know, making me talk. I like just saying what's from here and what's left up here, and know that it's a completely my stance on a thing. And I think there are more people out there that are like that, but there's just too many tools that bring out the other side of us instead of the right side of us.
Yeah, I think that if there was a superhero franchise, because obviously, like, something like Justice League, I don't think those characters can at all comment on anything that's going on in the world right now. They're godlike and weird, and like, it just, I don't identify with any of them at any level. Maybe Flash, you know, a little bit because he's just a kid, but I'm not a kid anymore. But like, X-Men, if there is a property that could kind of go and kind of use what's going on, especially with Division, in their favor, it's X-Men. Because if there was all of a sudden such a group, and especially if they look different, there would be such an opposing side and very little middle ground. Right. It's just like, if you look like what goes on when people start arguing about the trans community, there's very little middle, and there's a lot of stuff. So X-Men has that advantage to kind of go, yeah, some of these people look like supermodels, but some of them don't. Some of them live in the sewers, and I feel like that's the thing that they were missing from all the movies. They did a little bit of it, like, but even then they're like, what if they had tattoos on their faces? I'm like, that's not really like, that's like a cool thing now, so you can't do that. Right. So, but Alan Cumming's still gorgeous, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. So like, they really, I think like they need to really integrate, like, not necessarily a Morlock storyline, but there needs to be a thing where you go, this isn't just everybody is hot. Like, this is also a thing where people look different, they have to hide, or they'll get killed. Like, it's the same thing with, like, so X-Men has that advantage of, like, you could really resonate with minority groups and people who feel persecuted, but also show the other side of that, where like you have a character like a Cyclops or a Wolverine. Well, Wolverine should be ugly, but you know they're not going to cast an ugly guy.
Yeah, they're going
to
make
Wolverine for 20 years. But like there should be like there should be characters on that team that are not super fucking hot. Like, because otherwise I'm just like, yeah, they have superpowers. They're all 6 feet tall and in great shape. What are we talking about here? What's the problem? Like, they live in a mansion. Like, there's no issue. So like I think that's what they really got to focus on. And if they do that right out the gate and kind of show like that mutation and stuff isn't all just fun, cool powers, and like some of them are like, less tortured and just like struggling like on a day-to-day thing. They have to kind of go like the Peter Parker route. I feel like they got to bring it down from the God stuff, which they really got into in the last movie, and those things where like Jean Grey's like a god, and I'm like, I get it, that's super cool, but also like, what about that kid who just like when he touches people, you know they die. Like I like what's the kid who he's got the hoodie on, he's just going to school and trying not to get beat up. Those kinds of characters I really want them to kind of target in on in the new X-Men movies, and I hope they do it. I don't get me wrong, I want Cyclops to be like cool and look badass. I want all of those things, but I also want he needs to be the guy. They need to be the team that shows up for those little guys. And that franchise, if they do it, they're the ones that could really kind of make some real commentary without being too preachy, because you don't have to, because it's already the setup of the story. They're not going to be like, oh, they changed it to make them comment on like political stuff. They make them liberals or whatever. No, this is that's already the story. Like, you can't get mad.
It's funny when I hear that term. It's like, oh, they just want to make them liberal or whatever. It's like X-Men just want to exist with other people. There's no agenda there, or liberal or Republican, or it's not about that. It's literally just at the core of us. There is acceptance of others, like at our core. There also at our core is the denial of acceptance of others. So that's what X-Men's so great at, is the duality of that. You have characters that sign up for the X-Men who maybe don't always see eye to eye with Xavier's, like, oh, they hate us and they're throwing tomatoes at us, but we're still going to save them against giant robots. You have members that want to go join Magneto's side because they're like, well, I like how he deals with this. He's just like, fuck humans. Like, they persecute us. They don't get to exist anymore. And the thing is, that's what I see in our world. I see a lot of Magnetos. And I'm like, he's the villain. Like, I know we like him sometimes, but his perspective is evil. He wants to also wipe out a race of people. So to me, it's about the X-Men setting that tone. And so maybe if they did do a new version, you have someone, like you said, I would like a Morlock story where it's like someone at the end of the movie has to choose, like, do they go to Xavier's side or Magneto's side, and they go to the Morlocks or something. And then later on in a movie, you could have it to where the world gets so fucked up because of division that the Morlocks, Magneto, and the X-Men all have to team up against something to save the world. And then you show, like, how bad does it have to get for us to shake hands? Like seriously, how many people have to die for us to go, you know what? You think this way, I think this way. Who gives a fuck? If we keep down this path, either one of us is going to die, or our families are going to die, or our friends are going to die in the process. What's the point of that? Is their blood and their lives lost worth just getting back to this point where we could have just shook our hands right now? And I think something like that in the X-Men is not preachy, because that's the goal of Xavier. And it's a hard goal to reach because, like most superheroes, they fight the never-ending battle.
Yeah.
But unlike comic books where the battles can't end, in movies, you can end them because you can always close that story and reboot it in 10 years. So to me, I think they don't use the medium of movies as much as they should and in the way they should. But I would like to see that. And actually, even if they committed to X-Men being a series of Disney Plus shows that just have good budgets, that way we can stay with these characters. We can have an episode where a kid has a fish face and he's trying to go to school and he doesn't fit in. Like, you could do all that and it would work, you know? So I would like that. Plus, I would also like to see a chance of the original 5 X-Men being the first students.
Yeah,
and
that's my dream.
But with that, I know that they're never going to do four or 5 white guys and 1 white girl.
Yeah.
So that's fine though. Get creative with the casting, bring in different people. It's an alternate universe anyway. It's the movie universe. So to me, I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care who you cast or what you get to play a character, as long as they act like the character. Like I do a Resident Evil show on my gaming channel, and someone came into my comments once and they were like bitching because the girl playing Jill Valentine is like mixed race, and she looks a little more black, I guess, than white. And they were just like, this is bullshit. That's not who Jill Valentine is. I'm like, Jill Valentine being white, that's not what defines Jill Valentine. Just like being white or black doesn't define you as a person. Like, if you're an asshole, that defines you. You know, if you're empathetic, if you're loving, if you're caring, if you're a hard worker, like these are the things that define you. Your skin color doesn't. So like to me, I'm like, if she comes in and acts like a badass, like Jill's supposed to, and she can pick locks and shoot a gun, like she's Jill Valentine. Like it's not complicated.
Yeah, like with the X-Men reboot, I really feel like there will be definitely some not gender switches but ethnicity switches.
Definitely, yeah.
I feel like they're going to really go for it, and
yeah,
there will be that initial backlash, because yeah, like you said, like Giant Size X-Men was a game changer. They're still gonna, like, if you still did that lineup, people would in today's day and age they would still get mad. Too many white people.
Right.
Too many white people. But with it, like I always dreamt like that, like you would do one movie with the original 5.
Yeah. Or do the pilot episode of a show with the 5, and then jump ahead 20 years.
Then and then the next one would be like, oh, here we are. We've got all these new members. There's been like a few years have passed. Here is like a catch up of adventures, and like all of a sudden, but with things like Wolverine existing, they're going to be pretty like, well, what if Wolverine was there too? Like they're going to really like. I understand it because he's money. He's just guaranteed eyes and money on the thing. But I always said, like, if you couldn't change the ethnicity of one character, it is Cyclops, because he is a white man, like, because he's so dorky and ridiculous. Like he can't dance. He's not like, I just feel like he's a white guy specifically for all the negative white guy stereotypes. Just like oh, just at the party, like I don't want to, just like a stand there, like he's like, obviously, like Angel is cool, Iceman is funny and charming, Beast is what you could make any of those guys black guys now. I'd be like, of course, but Cyclops is like, I feel like, I mean, I guess you could have a super dorky black dude, but like I just see Cyclops as such a nerdy white guy, and like not in a positive. He has to be like, I just see it like that, and like, but like obviously could be completely changed if someone could be like, this is the guy, and if you were like went full like Donald Glover, like Community, I'd be on board with it.
Well, but see, then again, that's your take on Cyclops.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, right. So, like me, for example, like I would say, yeah, he has those elements, but his arc in the story would probably be that he learns what it means to become a leader. Which, like, when I was working in retail, that was a term I never really thought of, like leader. I just always associate that with Optimus Prime. So I'm just like, oh yeah, he's a badass leader. Like, and that's it. Like, no one's ever going to be that good because he's a fictional character. But being a leader, it is hard, and everything from like especially if you're like in a military situation, or if you're at a school and you're a teacher, like Cyclops becomes, like, or you're even in retail, like I was working in, like, it's hard to get people to respect you for being yourself, for giving a directive without coming across like an asshole. And it's a tricky balance, and it's something I never gave any thought to. I never heard the term before, and I worked in businesses like comic books and sales and everything, and toys and sales. I never heard until I got to Lego the term, you got to set because I was a supervisor there, like, you got to set everyone up for success. I never heard that term. And I'm like, how did I get through 35 years of my life, or 36, I guess, at that time, and I never heard that term? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's crazy. And I worked for businesses like Top Cow and other places. Like, I just couldn't wrap my head around that. And I said, that's the thing when I think about Cyclops or anyone in a leader position is, you start off and he's dorky and he's all those things, but he has to, at some point by the end of the story, be someone that almost just naturally earns everyone's respect. Oh, yeah. He puts himself in harm's way to protect his team. He does these things that are selfless, and he does these things. Maybe sometimes he does it because he likes the girl or whatever. So to me, if an actor came in, no matter what race or or anything, if they came in and could pull that off, I'd be like, you got the part. Holy shit, you got the part. Yeah. And so I think I kind of like that. Like when you see that in casting calls now, I see it more and more. My favorite one is CCH Pounder, who I'm a huge fan of hers. She did the voice of like Amanda Waller on the animated Justice League show, but she was in the show The Shield with Michael Chiklis, and she did this great thing. They did a commentary track for like the second episode on the DVD, and she said, when I came in to read for this part, it was for a character named Charles, and she said, but I came in and read anyway because I don't give a fuck who Charles is. I wanted that part. And she came in and they were like, oh, hey, who are you here to read for? And she goes, I'm here to read for Charles. And they're like, okay, well, Charles is described as like an old white guy. And she's like, I don't care. And he's like, all right. So she read the lines the way those guys heard the lines read in their head. And they were like, holy fuck, yeah, you're awesome. And they're like, okay, Charles is now Claudette, and he's an old black lady. And she got the part. And that to me is like, you got to have an open mind. You got to, when you do a casting call, you got to be willing to see anyone who could bring that character to life, because at the end of the day, the attributes of that character are more important than what the character looks like. Oh, at the end of the day. Definitely. Yeah, like I wanted Michael B. Jordan to play Reed Richards, not Human Torch. I was like, why don't they just make him Reed Richards? Like, why can't the smart guy who's nerdy and goofy also be like a good-looking Michael B. Jordan guy? And that way you don't have like they're adopted brothers and sisters. Like, stories are about simplifying things. So I'm just like, all right, make Johnny and Sue, whatever ethnicity you want, and they're brothers and sisters, and then have Reed be the black guy. Like, who gives a shit if he's good for the part,
Yeah. It's pretty wild. Like I think what was the last casting? I think the Supergirl casting was like I think the last big controversy. They cast that actress who is I think Latino,
right?
And like everyone's losing their mind. I was like, she's an alien.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
What do you think? Aliens are blonde hair, blue eyed. Like, get the fuck out of here. Who cares what she looks like? And like, the Black Superman movie's coming real soon. That's definitely on the pipe. So that's going to be an interesting thing. And like, I also think on this Winter Soldier show, I think they're going to do the Black Captain America. They're going to throw that in there in some small, maybe throwback scene or whatever, just adding to the story and the mythos of Captain America. A lot of people don't know about that character. I can't remember his name at this moment, but a lot of people don't know. Like the first real Captain America, they did.
Eli Bradley.
Yeah. They did experiments on black men because that's what the government would have done.
Eli. I think Eli is Patriot, who's like his grandson. But yeah, it was like something Bradley. His last name was Bradley. But yeah, he was the first guy they tested on before Steve Rogers, right? Yeah.
I think they're gonna throw that character in the show this time around. So like people have a lot to prep themselves for getting all upset about. I don't think I don't think the Jane Foster Thor is gonna make anyone too mad because they've had so many Thor movies already.
Sure, right.
But you can imagine if they were just like, oh well, Chris Hemsworth is not Thor anymore, and it's Natalie Portman, and everyone would just lose their mind. Like,
yeah, I mean,
they were just like nuts.
That's my favorite thing though, is like people love to make these things into, I call them non-traversies, but they like to make them into these things, and you're just like, doesn't fucking matter. Like, because when the movie comes out, it's not going to be anything like anyone expects anyway. Like everyone thinks it's like some deep hidden secret thing or agenda thing or this and that, and then you watch it and just go, oh, it's just a fun dumb adventure movie directed by Taika Waititi. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, who cares? Also, like, that's how half the fucking world looks at it. Just because you are like alone in your room, with like a little book going, oh, they're doing it wrong. Half the rest of the country is like, wait, what, do you want to watch this dumb movie this weekend? Yeah, okay, let's go watch it.
Yeah, that's
and then they don't care.
Right. I've spent the last 4 years trying to be less of a hardcore fan and more of a casual person. And then that's helped me out a lot, because now I'm just like, someone goes, hey, did you watch this? I go, yeah. And they're like, what'd you think? I go, whatever. It was a movie and I watched it. You know, it's like, I don't have I don't lean hardcore one way. It's not a masterpiece and it's not the biggest pile of shit I've ever seen. It's like, yeah, it was like a 6 out of 7, like most movies, because I don't know, I don't fucking like movies nowadays. Like, they're all just recycled garbage. So I'm like, but it's just like every other piece of recycled garbage, like McDonald's, it went down and it tastes fine, and I'm full. So that's just how.
I guess. Yeah. I honestly, like, because we are like in the the golden age of serial television. I get more excited about TV shows than movies, and that could be also because I can't go to a theater.
Okay.
Like,
I'm so glad I
miss going to
I hate
the theater.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I am a person that goes to the 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock a.m. showings, so I can sit in the back and not deal with people. But I still like to be in a theater and eat popcorn. Because a lot of people are like, I like to go and like be surrounded by people. And I was like, ew, why? Why would you want to be surrounded by a bunch of people who don't respect your boundaries or care about your experience at all?
They're farting, they're picking their nose, they're farting, they're on their phone, they're spilling popcorn everywhere. You're just like, yeah, I don't like people. I don't want to be around them.
Yeah, like I go to there's an IMAX here where I live, because I'm in the Bay now. And
okay.
There's an IMAX that my girlfriend and we always go Sunday mornings. That's when I watch the big movies, which obviously I haven't done that in over a year. But I love IMAX showings. I love going to watch those movies, but like I can't deal with people just like answering their phones and like, because that's when my temper goes whoop, and like the last thing I want to do is be like the fucking little news story, like guy was killed at theater for like yelling at somebody else to shut up, and like now I'm dead.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, they misbrand you. They're like, this male Karen, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, male Karen. that was. I mean, because like back in the day, I've yelled at plenty of people. I've yelled at a whole family once. I was with not even an important movie that I snuck into. I didn't even pay for it.
Jesus, the entitlement.
It was at the Burbank AMC, the big one, and I was with a friend of mine, and we used to like we used to line up all the time. We'd buy the first ticket at like 5, and then watch at 7, and then watch at 9.
Yeah.
Sometimes we would do it till we were there till midnight. But we snuck into, what is that Tom Cruise movie where he's like on a planet? It's like a clone. He's like a clone. Spoiler.
Shit, I don't know. The Mummy?
What is that? Oh, God, that's going to bug me. Anybody in the comments know the Tom Cruise movie where he's basically in like a white astronaut suit the whole time? He's on like a planet. I wonder if he starts with an F, maybe.
Fallout? Mission Impossible?
No, not that one.
Risky Business.
So like we were just walking in, we're like third row up from the bottom because it's like a Friday night. But there's parents and like their two, like, I guess teenage children. They're just talking and like joking. They're making fun of every scene.
Sure.
And, like, I guess my love for Tom Cruise just like lost had enough. And I just leaned down to them and was like, full audibly loud so everybody in the theater could hear. I was just like, shut the fuck up. And they all, because they were just like dorky white people. So they all just tensed up.
Right.
they shut right up. Because they were like not just like whispering to each other, like, and they were like wow. They were like talk. I was like, what is even funny?
Wow.
Nothing is funny.
Right.
This is like it's like an apocalyptic, sci-fi movie. It's just like one guy
Sure.
like, walking around with a spaceship. What are you even joking about? There's nothing. I used to be like again, you gotta temper it down. So to avoid those confrontations, because like nowadays with people being up here all the time, with like road rage is a different thing. Like you might 10 years ago you might have like flipped somebody off for cutting you off, but now I'm not gonna do that because that person will probably kill you. And Oblivion, that's it. There was no F in that.
There's no F in it.
There's no F in Oblivion, but like
Oblivion.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So it's like I just avoid it altogether. Go to like a 10 or 11 a.m. and there's like 3 old people in there. Perfect. Sometimes there's people there that are hoping that you're not there because they want to like have sex in the theater. And I say to them, still go for it. I don't mind. As long as it's far away and I don't smell it. I don't care.
You're like, I'll hear it, but I won't smell it.
I don't want to smell a butthole in the theater. Where I draw the line, and that's I know theaters are open. They're at like a certain percentage. And as soon as I'm vaccinated, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I was hoping to be vaccinated soon, so I could watch Godzilla, because watching Godzilla movies on the TV is sad. The whole point is like they're supposed to be big, and it's just like it's a spectacle.
Sure.
And just watching it on my like 55 TV in my living room was just like, oh, it's not. I'm just like, this story doesn't make sense. That's what I'm like doing the whole time watching a Godzilla movie. I was like, they wouldn't say that. That's what I'm like. That's what I know. I was like, if I was in a big theater, I'm like, oh, that looks cool. That's like, because it's just like that's a disconnect. And maybe that a Snyder cut would have been better. Although 4 hours in a theater, who buddy?
Yeah.
That's holding a lot of farts.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that one in the theater. I would probably have a headache, especially in IMAX.
I like that you can't go 4 hours without farting. I love that.
I can't. Not while eating popcorn and Reese's Pieces.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
That shit would kill me. All right, let's. I don't know how much longer you want to stay on, but I'm gonna do a thing that we always do, where I'm gonna walk away for like 2 minutes, and I'm gonna pee.
Okay.
Tiny bladder. You're gonna stay on?
I'll stay for a couple more minutes, and then when you're about to have your next guest on, I'll peace out so I can call my mom before she goes to bed.
Come on, and then we can all then we can have a 3-piece for 2 minutes.
Let's do that.
I have to do a thing because I drink the alcohol, and then it goes.
And that's right. Blood.
So if anybody has any Venom related questions, now's the time. Harass him about Venom.
Yeah. Don't ask me when the fucking trailer's coming out. No, don't do that.
I'll be really fast. I promise.
Peeing in your soda cup. Grandma's peach tea. Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here. It was really nice to kind of hang out with Justin again. And I'll try to do this. I'm going to keep my Instagram account active, but I'm trying to finish those 3 novels I told you I was writing earlier. I'm trying to finalize those so they come out this year, finally. So I'm taking a few months off social media. I'm deleting Twitter completely, though, after tomorrow, because I just can't take Twitter anymore. I want people to have less access to me for a while. So, but I will keep my account up. So hopefully I'll get to do this again with Justin in the near future. That would be awesome. This was a lot of fun. You guys were awesome. I've been reading your comments. I try to respond sometimes, or at least mention you. But Weeby Toys, I like your name, by the way. Rotten Collector joined. What's up, Rotten Collector? I'm gonna look at his room. Oh, there's like a Ripley in the yellow thing. Oh, there's some Jasons. He's got some cool shit. Yeah, I've cut down on my collection. I have like I said, I just have this one shelf that has like some DC stuff on it. And then way in the corner, there's some more Venom. And then I have all these soundproof pads, posters. I have a Venom coming out of my wall up there. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to be rearranging some stuff too. Yeah, Twitter is, here's the thing, is there's some really cool stuff on Twitter, and there's some really nice people I follow. So my feed or my timeline isn't like full of hot garbage like I thought it would be, getting back on Twitter, because I was off Twitter for a long time. and I got back on. I think I had like someone was like mad at me. I had like 5,000 Twitter followers, um and people were like, "How could you walk away from that and delete that account?" I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I just don't care. I'm not one of those people. Like, I do a lot of things for my own. Like, well, there's a lot of health issues I have, so it's like I do things to take less stress off me, or more stress off me. So,
Wow.
well, welcome back. How was your pee?
Oh, it was great. I stopped and pet my dog, and I peed, and I grabbed a very classy drink.
Okay. Weeby Toy, send me a
40
nice
ounce of King Cobra.
Which is Weeby Toy, send me a friend request, and I'll definitely check out your page.
Yeah, Courtney, I'm sure he's on somewhere. Feel free to send that other request, dude, and we'll get him on since he is a part of this show.
Yes, yeah.
He's my best friend he lives in Ohio, so we do this all the time.
Awesome.
And usually the second hour is a little more loose because we try to keep like a topic. Your first hour, like, this is what we're gonna talk about tonight. We're trying to see, and then the second hour is like, hey, let's make fun of people we know, because like everybody like kind of dips like after a while. Like,
okay.
Because like you're first on the first hour, people like engage, and I get it. You can't sit. I don't want to stare at Instagram live for an hour. It's one thing to go watch it later on YouTube, but like, so we'll just start talking shit or whatever, and then depending also how much we drink can also.
There you go.
I think he's ready.
Hey, how do you send this? How do you recording this, and how do you send it to YouTube?
Well, it actually used to be really annoying because the Instagram Live used to cut off at an hour. There he is.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, buddy.
What up, dude?
So like Instagram used to cut off live at the hour mark, you know?
Yeah.
And so we'd have to, it would actually go to the stories, the whole thing. And then I would have to get my other phone and I would screen record it. I would screen record like 3 hours. I would just let the phone play the whole entire
Holy
thing.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it actually doesn't do that anymore. It goes to Instagram TV. There's like a couple websites where you can just go right there, and if your page is public, you can just download anyone's Instagram TV video for free.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
So now I just download it from there, and then
upload it.
I do a little edit. If I've said something a little out of pocket, I'll go in and like cut that out.
You've never done that.
Smart man. Hey, I like your background too, man.
Thank you. Actually, I just did it today. My wife and I just bought a house, and
congrats.
Both
thinking. Yeah. I heard you talk about that.
Full of shit.
Yeah.
Those are nice. Now they're displayed shit.
I like
nice.
It's better than your old kitchen cupboards in the old house.
Right?
You're
an internet thing.
Yeah, I was watching.
By the way.
Oh yeah, Cobra. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so jealous, man.
Jealous.
I'm drinking.
Don't be jealous. Of the pain in my stomach in about 20 minutes.
I was watching your one of your episodes yesterday, and I remember you talking about the new house and stuff. So yeah, because I was like, that wasn't in the background when I watched the last episode. But for your window there, so I used to record over near my window, and the sunlight during the day, I always like to make it look like my room it's nighttime all the time in here, because I want people to wonder when the fuck I make these videos. And
this is actually the closet.
Oh, okay. So what I did with my and there's the window. So what I did with so I have a closet too, and then what I did with it at one point was I did this, which you'll see. I covered it in fake ivy.
Nice.
So I had it was like a curtain. So I used to have it over here, and then I moved it over to the window once I was like, all right, I'm going to frame from here now on, and people won't see the closet door anymore. But then I got the ivy, and I'm like, I love it, but it doesn't really go with anything else in my room. So I think I'm going to buy a poison ivy statue just to have it near the window.
There you go.
Yeah. By the way, on a scale of 1 to 10, how trashier do I look drinking this?
To me, you look more handsome.
Did you say trashier?
Yeah, trashier. I feel like I just immediately just got so much trashier. Like I'm just drinking a brown bottle.
Yeah, I used to
put a
live
bag
on
around
those things.
Oh yeah, I mean, I asked for a bag and he gave me a black plastic one, so I didn't get a cool paper bag.
Well,
Yeah, you need
in
a brown paper.
solidarity, I am wearing my yesterday's 40-ounce pin.
I like that. You have a crow pin on. Justin has a crow pin.
He sure does.
I got.
Yeah.
That's from Wasteland Pin Company. They did a set that has that. It's gold and white. Has that one, and then the bone crow logo from City of Angels, which is
City of Angels,
but like cool logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
My favorite pins are gold pins, or gold and black pins, or silver and black pins. Like I like color pins, but like I like to just wear a lot of gold. King Cobra is a classic, but it's also tomorrow I will be like, that's a classic mistake.
Worst thing I ever did was drink 3 of those.
3
in a night.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
I'm glad you're here to tell us the story.
I drank 2.
I don't like telling that story, but I will tell that story. It was awful.
That's like a Guinness World Record.
And then almost died at your
Possibly.
Yeah, in high school.
Yeah, I drank 2 at his house.
Yeah, he almost died on my trampoline.
I just passed out on my own puke on the trampoline. And that was also because of the donuts I ate.
Oh.
Because somebody brought like a big thing of donuts and I ate like 3 huge glazed like twisty ties.
Gross.
And then I was like full of malt liquor, and then I just went on a trampoline and slept there all night.
Until we dragged you inside.
I remember waking up being very mad because I was wearing like a really not cool t-shirt, but like at the time I was like, this is a cool shirt. And it was completely ruined. And I remember being very upset about the shirt. Not less upset that I could have choked on my own vomit and never woke up. But very upset about my t-shirt from Pac Sun.
That'd be a very depressing what if comic to read.
Oh yeah. It's always fun to think about how close you were to death so many times. You obviously know this very well. Seek.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Seek rides the lightning daily.
Yeah, sadly. Yeah, but I function. My favorite thing people tell me is, "You look so normal." I'm like,
that's not a compliment.
I'm like, sweet. Well, that's good because that's the whole point. I've seen how people look at me and treat me when I'm not like forcing myself to have energy or sitting upright or doing all the mannerisms that people expect you to have. Yeah. When the camera shuts off after I make a YouTube video, it's very much like a Clark Kent or Superman to Clark Kent transition. Like I'm hunched, like all my energy is gone. I'm deflated. I barely have enough energy to walk my dog sometimes. And then I go in my bed and it's like, I have a marshmallow bed. It's literally like this memory foam. And I just kind of sink into it. And it's the only way because I'm still healing from a dislocated shoulder and I have back problems. And then I have all the other stuff that's going on. So it's like the foam just kind of wraps around me and it just feels nice. Like and so there will be days I just for hours and hours just stay in that bed because I'm just like, I can't do it today, or I'm gonna live stream tonight, so I need like 6 hours of rest before I go do it so I can look and sound like this, and then go back to being me. So that's the whole thing. It's like when I go to work, I do the same thing. I'm in a role at work where I don't want customers to be afraid to approach me. I want them to think I'm confident. I want them to, to come up and let me help them find stuff. And they won't do that if I look the way I sometimes do. Because with the aneurysm, like you have a stroke with it usually. And so my left side is tough to use sometimes. So it's like years of stretching and doing things. And it's funny because I'm not an in-shape guy, but I just do enough so I can operate things and make things hurt less. So it's to me, it's like, I don't know. I don't think about it so much, but yeah, it's riding the lightning sucks, man, sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I have chronic back pain, so I don't know how you.
Yeah.
I mean, that tacked on with everything else, and that's the thing. It's like, and that, you know, I'm not trying to like, blow you on camera, but you should be, you know, moderately proud of yourself.
He will though.
I will. For McFarlane action figures, I will on camera.
Echo, cover your eyes.
Avert your eyes, children.
But like, I mean, I know myself, and I am a fucking crybaby, so I would have probably just checked out a long time ago. Speaking of McFarlane stuff, before we get on, I don't know if you have, I don't know what figure you're caught up to. I don't buy them all. Let's keep in mind.
Okay.
Originally, when I was like, I'm just gonna get the Batmans, because I've got like 100 Batman figures, just Batman. Yeah. So like, I was like, I'm just gonna get the Batmans because I have Batman.
Holy shit! So there's a lot of Batmans.
Yeah. So like, and then, but I was like, then they started doing like all the death metal and the Dark Knights, and I was like, I love that artwork. I love those designs. So I bought all those, and then I end up with like shit like this. Fucking Damien, which I just got from Amazon, and then I just got this one in the mail too. I have his motorcycle, and that's another thing. I got the motorcycle.
Yeah.
I was like, but this shit rocks, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is where like two of my interests really meet. And that's why I love the designs of those characters and the themes of those comics. Necessarily the stories are kind of convoluted because that's how DC alternate universe stuff usually is. I'm reading it and going, my brain is melting. But like, because I don't understand 100 years of fucking DC backstory. I just like, that looks cool. That looks cool. I like Superman with long hair and like sleeveless tee. That's cool. But like this metal stuff just rules. Batman with the fucking sickle, get out of Dodge. And then I even ordered the other one. And the only difference is that he has a red guitar.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I am so pathetic. I was like, I need him to have a guitar.
He also comes with a Batman Darkseid figure or something piece.
Oh, yeah. And like, so my McFarlane stuff is that whole square. And it's spilled out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't buy McFarlane figures really at all before. I obviously, I bought comics in the 90s, so I have Spawn comics. But I dropped out of that a long time ago. And then, he's been mostly his licensing has been stuff I'm not interested in. And I hated the multiverse figures that they were doing before. Or whoever was at Mattel.
Yeah.
They were so bad and looked so. They made Marvel Legends look like fucking Mezco. And that's like the nerdiest diss of all time. Listen to this. Like, take that.
Dude,
take that, Marvel Legend.
Look what I found today unpacking. I forgot I totally
Hey, the Creech!
I have that not box, so you should be really proud of yourself. That's a nice box
to
find.
The thing is gigantic.
Yeah.
I totally forgot I had it.
In a bin of Spawn toys.
Well, to answer your question, I have the entire Wave Rebuilt Bane is the last one I got.
I'm still waiting on my Target pre-order.
And I just found John Stewart Green Lantern, the comic one.
And that,
and I'm looking for Bizarro. I wanted Bizarro.
I love Bizarro.
I have all of them except for in the first series when they came out, because they came out right before I moved here to Florida last year. So the last thing I bought in California was the entire first wave, except I didn't get Harley Quinn or Green Arrow. Because I was just like, I don't want those versions of those characters.
Yeah,
I don't want an animated Harley, and I don't want a Green Arrow Stephen Amell. So I'll wait for whatever new version they do. But since then, I've bought them all except the death metal ones. They're the only ones I don't want. But I did buy the one on the motorcycle, so I have him on the motorcycle down here. Yeah. So and then so I have him because he just looked badass.
Yeah, I've never. I mean, for the price point, I feel like the figures are so great. Like if you literally like stack one up, people are like, what about the articulation? I was like, I don't care. I don't play with them. I'm not like I'm not at home like, oh, let's see if you can do the splits and then do a flip. Like I don't care. I just literally just do this.
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, they're just back here, and that's it. I have one Target pre-order right now, and it's for Batman Beyond.
Oh,
so
I have those two. I didn't get the villain. I don't, because I'm not super familiar with that character.
Okay.
But I mean, reach down off screen. This is what's happening currently with this motorcycle.
I saw that picture. I saw that picture. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Cyclops casual with the fucking visor.
Up in this corner here, I have Skeletor on Battle Cat holding nunchucks.
Nice. Nice.
Somehow I ended up with a pair of Mikey's nunchucks loose somewhere. I don't know. So he's holding a dump.
They're Skeletors now.
Yeah.
I'm such a sucker for this line that like I literally like, which I'm sure will happen at some point tonight. I will probably not rant, but I'm going to talk about the Snyder Cut and the things I don't like about it, just to get it out of my system. But I still pre-ordered both of the Henry Cavill Supermans and the Batman and the Darkseid.
Holy shit.
And I don't even like the movie.
I was about to say, the real test if you like the series is if you buy any of the Justice League ones, and you just said you got 4 of them. So, yeah, you love this series.
I guess I'm part of the problem, but like that's the thing. I was like, I don't hate the Ben Affleck casting.
Yeah.
I really like the Henry Cavill casting as Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like what Snyder does with those characters.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think the Justice League Batman suit is ridiculous, but it looks cool in an action figure. So I'm like, I'm gonna get it. And I wanted the Henry Cavill, I wanted a Henry Cavill Superman figure for a while.
Yeah.
They all went up in price, the nicer ones. And so I was like, this just works out for me. So I was like, fuck it. And the Darkseid.
Did they have to CG off the mustaches on those action figures too?
That's an old joke. You should feel ashamed. How dare you?
No, but there is a version where you can add
because I could give 2 shits about that goddamn movie. I turned it on, and probably about 20 minutes in, I was like, I'm going to sleep.
Well, yeah,
if you dip him in cold water, the mustache shows up. And then if you he's one of those.
They took that old color changer car technology from fucking Matchbox and put it on his face.
I had a friend, he's never gonna get on here, so but like, cause I haven't heard from him in like a year, but he's been messaging me nonstop. My friend Joe from LA, but he's in Florida now, like you, and so he's just been paragraphing me about this Snyder Cut, and I was just like, oh my god, everything you're saying is true, but also like, I don't care. Like, I wish I had the because honestly, like Snyder fucking he killed my heart in the Batman versus Superman thing. Like once he made that, I was like, okay, well, he does not really get Superman, he doesn't get Batman, and he just likes cool shit. He's to me like a gamer, like not to diss gamers, but like gamers who just like want to play shoot 'ems, want to see stuff blow up, they want to run around with a gun, blah, 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 blah. That's kind of like the vibe. It's just like, look at this spectacle. It's very shiny, but like, don't think about it for too long, or you're gonna be really upset. But he kind of like because I remember I watched Batman v Superman in the theater, and I remember being very sad. I was legit sad. I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
But like Batman just like drinking and like basically murdering people and then wanting to kill Superman because of a newspaper scheme that Lex Luthor cooked up. I was like, this is like the world's dumbest Batman. He did how much time did he spend really figuring this out? He was like, hey, he sent me this message in a newspaper. I better kill him. Like a fucking There was no like build up to it, and it just made them both seem so callous and cruel. And I know Batman is But at the same time, Batman is also the same person that would take in an orphan and like raise them, and like there's layers that they don't do. So when he's just like, I'm gonna kill Superman with a fucking piece of kryptonite, I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, is there really nothing else you can figure out? You're the world's greatest detective.
Well, it's like that thing I told you earlier about you get people mad and pissed off enough, you can pretty much just get them to do whatever you want. The difference is, I don't want to see that in a Batman and Superman movie. like it's like, okay, at the beginning of the movie, he watches all of that city get destroyed and that little girl lost her mom, and okay, Batman's pissed. He's like, what the fuck is this thing, and what did it do to our cities? Okay, that's a legitimate thing for him to investigate, but Batman's a clear-headed guy. Investigating Superman, he'd realize Superman's not a threat.
Yeah.
So
it would take literally in the end, all of 5 minutes to figure that out with a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, just talk to him.
But their angle was, oh well, but their angle was like, oh, he's manipulated, so he's angry, and things keep happening that make him angry and angrier, and finally he's at the point where we can push him to go do something he wouldn't normally do. And I'm like, that's great, but I don't want that in a Batman vs Superman movie. I want a Batman vs Superman movie that's called World's Finest, and I want to watch something like that. But again, like, I don't know. I'm not upset. I don't get pissed about those movies. I'm just like, whatever. They found their audience, and those people who like it, they got a Batman and Superman story. But like I said earlier, I need them to like those characters in that version, so that way, like right now, I mean, shit, I don't even know what we're complaining about now. The Superman and Lois show on TV is actually pretty good, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, this is good enough for me. Like, I'm like, I have a good writer currently writing Superman comics. I got this show that's like kind of in the middle, and then I got the other extreme, which is, the Snyder version. So I'm like, shit, am I a spoiled bitch? Am I gonna like literally sit here and complain about Superman now? Like, we can all fucking have our version. It's so crazy. Like, how entitled and pampered do we have to get before we stop arguing with each other? Yeah.
I had that conversation at work with somebody recently where it was just like, oh, you don't like it? Fucking wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, shit.
There'll be another fucking version of it soon enough.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Go watch the shit that you do like repeatedly. Who cares? And then wait 5 fucking minutes for the new one.
If you got to wait 10 years, go back and just watch Smallville again, and just watch that for the next 10 years. And then in 10 years, you'll probably get a Superman movie that you like. It's like it just doesn't.
That's where there's a disconnect a lot of times because I get labeled as like a hater of things. Justin hates everything. He fucking hates everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not really the case. I just really enjoy making fun of stuff. And then I just go to sleep and don't fucking worry about it ever again. Like, I think it's entertaining to pick apart things in pop culture. And then when people take it too serious, it's even more entertaining at times, because it's like, why are you so upset if I'm like, oh, the Dark Phoenix movie is trash, and you like Jean Grey so much that you can't rationalize in your own brain that the movie has flaws? Why can't you just admit it has flaws? I love Cyclops. All of the movies he's in, except for like one, he's just terrible. Like, what are you talking about? And it's fine. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. It's just like, it's whatever. That's life, You get what you get, and then you make your own. You make your own, like, happiness and joy, and the things that are out there that aren't that. And it's just like, a lot of people can't, like, the Snyder people, they trash the Nolan Batmans, which I find really weird. And like, why can't you just like this? Why do you have to go back to these movies that I consider a classic and go, oh, his voice is stupid. Why would he do this? And these are stupid. And it's like, those are great movies. What are you talking about? And it's like, so I don't know. Everybody just needs to just kind of go, it's a guy in a bat outfit.
Yeah, like, why are we arguing over him? He's in a bat outfit. Like,
he's a guy in a bat outfit, and he literally is like a billionaire, and he does no like philanthropy for poor people. He just beats people up in the now.
Well, there's actually that episode of Batman the Animated Series where a couple homeless guys go missing, and Batman goes undercover as a homeless guy and gets knocked out, and then at the end he ends up giving 2 of the homeless guys jobs at Wayne Enterprises. So like there is a humanitarian side to Bruce Wayne. There's a lot, like you said, there's layers. And I feel like to me, like Batman, let's use for an example, I always thought that franchise, much like Spider-Man and maybe even Superman, they should just be like James Bond franchises. Like, who gives a shit about continuity? If you want to recast the character and then tell a lizard story, then do that. And then the next movie, it's like, all right, that director can't come back because this one didn't do that well. Well, the next Spider-Man is a different actor and he's fighting Sandman. Well, how's it connected to Lizard? Who gives a shit? It's a James Bond movie. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. But then I say that, but then like the last 5 James Bond movies have been one continuity. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're ruining James Bond.
I just love. When you're gone, I'm like, now that Steve's gone, I'm gonna roast this Snyder movie. But like, that Batman. I don't care. Like, people like I said, I like Ben Affleck. I'm a Ben Affleck fan. I think he's a good actor. I think it's great that he, still got buff while, dealing with like full blown being an alcoholic and stuff.
Sure.
And, like, all that stuff is really hard, and he still fucking shows up. And I like it. I like Ben Affleck. And so I'm not gonna like. I don't like. Oh, I hate Ben Affleck. I don't care who they cast as Batman. Just like I didn't care about Robert Pattinson. Everyone lost their minds. Like, oh my god, it's a guy from Twilight. He's not an actual fucking Twilight vampire. What are you fuck? Who cares? He's a guy. He's an actor. Who gives a shit?
Also, to quote Ben Affleck, fictional character.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like, the one thing that there are things about, like, what Snyder Cut does, what Snyder Justice League does, it shows how ineffective that version that he loves of Batman so much, which is just the brute force Frank Miller, where he just comes and he's scary and he beats you to a pulp and he's just a scary guy. That does not work in his Justice League movie because he's just like, oh, well, I've got this really big plane. He has nothing else to offer. He's like,
right.
My idea is to get a bunch of other people who can do this for me, which I guess is a good idea. But, like, he's not a thinker at all. And that bums me out because the Batman I love is a brain. And even in the Nolan stuff, he relies a bit heavy on the tech. So I'm really looking forward to the new Batman because it really feels like they're going to do the detective thing finally. Like, they're really going to dive into that noir thing. And that hopefully will be the version of Batman that, like, makes my butt wet all the time. Like, that's what I want.
A wet butt? You want a wet butt?
I want to be like, I want a Batman that is like, yeah, he's going to beat you to a pulp, but he's going to also, like, get your fingerprints, I'm going to go back with your fingerprints to the lab.
I want every time when I sit in a chair for there to be a wet bat ass print.
Definitely. But, like, think about, like, how stupid they're, like, okay, so one more thing about the Snyder Cut. So they do this future scene, the epilogue, which is the worst part. They should have just ended it. And it's like, so I won't spoil it for anybody, not that I care, but, like, there's a few people who are left after Darkseid shows up, right? And one is Batman, trench coat. And why is the dumbest version of Batman ever still alive after Darkseid shows up, but Wonder Woman and Aquaman are dead? Wonder Woman is really fucking smart. They set her up to be the strongest and the smartest. She's dead? Shut the fuck up. Like, Batman literally tries to kill himself in Justice League. His brain idea is like, I'm going to drive my Batmobile, and then the fly things will chase me, and then I'll die. Like, he basically is like,
that's why Darkseid doesn't kill him, because Darkseid's probably like you. He's like, this Batman's a puss. Like, I don't have to waste any energy on this guy. And then when Batman leads a revolution against him, he's like, are you fucking kidding? That guy? He's the one leading the revolution?
The guy that, like, everybody knows who he is, but he still won't take off his bat cowl for some reason. Just sweating out in the desert.
He's standing there. Yeah, right. I won't spoil it. But yeah. Now, I mean, hey, I watched the movie. We did a live stream of it, me and my friend Alex, because every Thursday we do a thing where we watch DC animated movies and we do commentaries for them, like live. And so this week we were just like, hey, Thursdays are when we do our show. Do you want to just spend the whole day doing Snyder Cut? And we were both like, sure. And we're neither of us are fans of the previous two Snyder movies, although we are fans of Snyder's movies. We just didn't like his two DC movies. So we were like, let's check it out. So we watched it with an open mind. We both ended up liking it more than we thought we would, but we still both had a ton of criticism about it. But it didn't stop our overall just enjoyment of how some of the acting and characters were. Because I was like, hey, some of this isn't great. Yeah, Batman and Superman to me were the weakest, but I thought they did a good Flash, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman, and even Aquaman at times in this version. So I was like, yeah, these characters are done pretty well. So I got some level of enjoyment out of it. And so it was fun to kind of do that. But yeah, I have a friend who's like, he has like Zack Snyder shit comes on his YouTube show now, like because he was part of the movement of like release a Snyder cut for the past 4 years. And so Snyder, which I thought was cool of him, reached out to those fans and was like, hey, I'll come on your show because I'm sure he's going to do New York Times articles and Variety articles and stuff. But he's like, I want to do stuff for the people who had a big platform on YouTube that spoke about this movie. So now, like, my friend can text Zack Snyder. And on that level, I'm just like, that's really cool. Like, I understand all fandoms have the bad seeds in them that kind of ruin it for the rest of everybody. But at the end of the day, what I saw is a group of people come together, raise $500,000 for a charity that needed money to, and awareness for. And they got something that's never been done in cinema before, which is they got a movie that was dead by all rights from a studio to get resurrected. That would be like them releasing the actual Tim Pope version of Crow City of Angels, which is like a 2-hour, 15-minute drama movie with a little bit of action in it. We're never going to get that. But this fandom rallied together enough and made enough noise to do it. And at the end of the day, I, as someone who just likes movies, love that they did that, because now I can literally see the version the studio thought they could give us, thinking we're just all dumb sheep, and then see the version that was like this other version, which is still not that much smarter in my opinion, and then the other movie, but it's still like a completely different experience. And I'm like, that's crazy. I've never in my life had that ever. To see a movie.
The closest thing would probably be, I feel like the closest thing that you saw was something like that was like the Firefly Serenity thing, where.
Not even that. I think the closest thing I've ever seen to that is Apocalypse Now. There's been like 3 versions of that movie, and all 3 of them were like.
I see what you're saying. Like a
Blade Runner
movie that has been like it's like redone. But I mean, I guess I was talking more of like a fan movement that got something made that probably wouldn't have been.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, no, started making this friendly movie. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Ironically, it happened with Whedon.
Ironically with Whedon, and also like then still bombed. So.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, it was a good movie.
Like the fucking 10,000 people that were juiced about it, and that's why like I think studios are finally coming to grasp with. If they take a project to Comic-Con and everybody's in Hall H screaming like bloody murder, that doesn't mean the movie is going to be good.
Right. Does not.
It's not indicative. People that are like, they waited in line for like 6 hours and they're just like horned up for anything you give them. And they're just like, and they're just screaming. And it's like, oh my God, our movie's going to be huge. And it's like, no, take that to the mall in Iowa and see if anyone screams there.
Right. Well, it's like having Hot Dog Con. And then everyone there, you're like, hey, look, we'll make $1 billion on hot dogs. And it's like, well, these people bought tickets because they like hot dogs. But
the next thing.
But most people are like, yeah, sure, I'll eat a hot dog, I guess, but I'm not buying a ticket to Hot Dog Con. So yeah, I don't know. It's like
the one thing, because like my girl, I think my girlfriend, she was about the halfway mark, and then I stayed up and I powered through the whole thing. The positive of it is that it's a one-tone movie. Whereas, like, when you watched the other one, you felt that it was 2 different tones clashing together at times. And you could really feel the scenes that were different. And it was a mess. And it was kind of like, I feel like the antithesis and the real final conclusion of DC and Warner Brothers just rushing to get that's what the key is with all these DC films, and just in my opinion, and other people might have a different opinion, obviously, but I think they're big on getting to the finish line without earning it, and that's kind of my thing with it. It's like, look, you guys want to get to your destination
in like 5 movies. And granted, I know that's planned. It's like, oh, this is it's the contrast to what Marvel did, where they took a longer route to get there. They want to do it in a shorter route. It's like, yeah, but the problem is that then when you hit these milestones of accomplishment after each film is over, it's very rushed and not earned.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the problem. And then so I think that's why most audiences, like, you can sit there and say, yeah, there's a fan base for this and they love it. And that's great. And there's a bigger fan base than I probably even gave them credit for. But there's still the masses out there. And the masses are what is the deciding factor if your movie goes over $1 billion or not. And at the end of the day, you know, Batman vs. Superman did not even make $1 billion, let alone profit $1 billion. And those are the 2 biggest superheroes of all time. So it doesn't even matter if your movie is objectively good or bad. What matters is that you get enough people interested to go see it.
Yeah.
And there just weren't. And that's crazy to think about, considering you have the 2 most iconic superheroes of all time. So there was some disconnect with that movie, whether people want to admit it or not. And I know some of the fans will say, well, that's just because everyone's stupid and they want dumb popcorn stuff. It's like, but what's wrong with that? Like, again, we all need each other. So, like, if you want your movie to make $1 billion, you need us to go see it. Mm-hmm. So why not? Why can't there be compromises? And that's just the issue. And plus, these characters are not Zack Snyder's characters. They're not David Goyer's characters. Kevin Feige doesn't own the Marvel characters. They have a job. They have to facilitate these characters that have been around forever, do a version of them that is digestible for most people, not a group of people, and then release it hoping they make $1 billion. And so I admire what they try to do, and that they try to give a director who has a vision, whether we like that vision or not, they try to give him control over this. That's great. You tried it, but financially it didn't work. But you did make a whole bunch of new people Superman fans. Like, I was working at Top Cow when Man of Steel came out, and Matt Hawkins, he was my supervisor there, and I'm blanking on his name, but I had 2 supervisors, but Matt Hawkins was one of them, and Mark Silvestri, the comic book artist, he was my other one. So I was having lunch with Matt, and we were talking about sales because I worked in marketing and stuff, and we were like, how, what do we do? Or we're going to kill the darkness. We were talking about some story idea, and he saw Man of Steel, and I said, what did you think of Man of Steel? And because I walked out of that movie bummed out. I was really upset when I left that movie, but I was so excited when I was going into it. He was like, honestly, I never, ever, ever liked Superman. He goes, but I watched that movie, and that was a version that I kind of liked. And just hearing that, I was like, okay, obviously I don't agree with him, but as a Superman fan, that the day after that conversation with him, I no longer argued with people online about Man of Steel. I was like, I'm done. I go, because I just heard a guy say he never liked Superman, and now he does.
Right.
And I'm like, and as a fan of Superman, that was a cool thing for me to hear. It really did change something in me. And I was like, I'm done arguing with people. If he likes this version of Superman, I hope it's successful so he can keep liking Superman.
I like Superman, and I hate Man of Steel.
Yeah, see, me too. Yeah. But
I thought it was like super flawed, but I also thought it was like a halfway decent jumping off point. Because if you're gonna do like a new Superman learning, and he kills Zod, and he doesn't like killing, and he feels that pain, that's a good jumping off point for a guy that goes, I don't want to live through that experience anymore. I'm gonna do everything I can to not kill people. Right. They could have made another Superman movie where he is that guy in that 5 minutes of Justice League where he's on the farm smiling and shit. He's a hometown guy. That's the guy that you don't even see. Even when he leaves those scenes, he goes back to start fighting. He's vicious and he's violent. He's aggressive. He literally throws Steppenwolf and lets Wonder Woman cut her head off. He doesn't even go, don't do that. He's like, fuck, fine. I don't care. Like, but that's some Amazon shit, but like
well, it's not just that. It's Zach sees these characters like a lot of people do, which is, I mean, that phrase has been around since the 60s, which is 50s and 60s, which is comic books are our version of Hercules, David and Goliath. Like these are our generation stories like that. These are our mythology, our gods in a lot of ways. And so he, with that mindset, he's like, okay, that's how I'm gonna translate them to screen. So to him, Zeus kills, Hermes kills. Like these gods will kill when they need to for good.
All right.
So I can understand. I mean, here's the thing: is I can understand his point of view, like you guys do too, I'm sure. So, but it's like, okay, that's not my take on these characters,
right?
But that's his take, and he's rallied together a bunch of people that probably didn't even know Cyborg's real name before that movie came out. They probably didn't know the name Vic Stone at all, but now they do, and they're on Twitter going, "He's my favorite character of the movie." So, like I said, we all need each other. We need them on some level to like a version that will make them jump out of their seat and feel a passion the way me and you feel a passion for our version. So that way these characters, live on for the rest of our lives. And so that's why at the end of the day, I'm like, I just don't get upset over their opinions anymore. I'm like, as long as they're saying good, positive things about characters that they didn't know existed 2 years ago, I'm like, we won. Comic book fans won. Like, what are we really fighting about? Like, or what are we fighting over? Like, we've dominated. All of our movies make billions of dollars for the most part. Like, we beat the shit out of the jocks. We turned some of them into nerds. So the war's over. We won. So now why is there infighting like that? And so that's kind of my thing with these movies is like, yeah, it's not my thing. It's not my take. It's not my version. It's not what I would do in the situation. But no one's at Warner Brothers paying me, $50 million to make a Superman movie. Hey, Warner Brothers, call me if you want. Yeah. I'll make your Green Lantern movie for you for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like the antithesis of what we were talking about just in general. It's just like, at the end of the day, like, I find pleasure in roasting it? Yes. Do I think does it matter? No.
Yeah.
I like talking about pop culture stuff, especially comic book movies and things. And if somebody wanted, they want to come and be like, what you like is dumb. I'm like, that's fair. So like, I find pleasure in roasting things. I think it's a good time, but I would never roast. I would never try to I wouldn't knock on someone's door and be like, you're a piece of shit for liking this.
Right.
Like I wouldn't go to door and be like, you're fucking stupid. Your parents raised an idiot. Like, I wouldn't
and that's your problem. And that's your problem. Yeah. No.
But if they came in the chat right now, and then I would say that to them, maybe.
Right.
But and that's also that's my sense of humor too. My sense of humor.
Sure.
And then I always get labeled the guy who hates everything because I like making fun of stuff. I also make fun of everything I like.
Right, exactly.
I make fun of it. Like, Justin makes fun of it. He hates everything. I was like, but he also hates the things he likes. That's so weird. That's because I'm just talking shit. I'm just, it's all silly, fun stuff, distractions from your day-to-day life. Whatever gets you through, that gives you that little bit of joy or just a little. I mean, think about the last year, especially with everything going on. Comic books and stuff don't matter unless they're handing out COVID vaccines with the latest issue of fucking Avengers. Comic books don't matter.
Right.
It's meaningless. At the end of the day, it's just your distraction. Whatever gets you through the day and it doesn't hurt other people. Okay, fine. I don't care what you collect, what you read, what movies you watch, what albums you like. But you also, if you come to my live stream and you go, I like this album, and I go, I don't like that album, sucks. You can't get mad about it because you came to my live stream.
Right.
And this is the thing that brings me joy, making fun of your albums. So,
and that's why Justin and I have been friends for so long. That's the dynamic that we connect on, is just how many times we've sat and talked shit about anything, and especially the stuff that we love. Those are some of the funner conversations that we have, where we just tear the shit out of everything we enjoy.
Yeah.
Because it's all silly. It's just silly shit.
And like breaking it down and kind of finding the nuances and the silly parts of it, it kind of makes you like it even more. You find yourself kind of going, that is so stupid, but God, I love it. Like think about the Jason movies. Just the dumbest thing you've ever seen, but God, I love watching.
My favorite thing on the planet.
How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? I'm leaving the stream. Those are masterpieces, sir. 12 masterpieces. No.
That's what I'm talking about. Like if anybody was like if it was like, oh, you like those Jason movies are real dumb. I'm like, yeah, they are dumb. I would never be like, they're fucking fine pieces of art that have all this social commentary. No, they're trash, but I really
they do about killing teenagers who are irresponsible.
I might get real defensive about part 3, but it's trash. It's fucking trash, and I know it.
Since you noticed my crow pin, I'll show you a really cool crow T-shirt I got online.
Holy shit!
This is actually the soundtrack T-shirt.
Wow! Yeah.
And
that's amazing.
The coolest part is it has like the bands on the back.
No way! Believe in Angels. That's awesome.
I got this from a company called Southern Gentleman. It popped up, on one of those random Facebook ads of like a T-shirt company. And I was like, oh, they're probably scammers. I ordered it and I was like, who cares? It's like 20-some bucks. But no, it came and it's fucking dope. I love that it has all the different band logos on the back.
That's so cool. Yeah, Pantera, Nine Inch Nails.
I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's funny. Someone was telling me recently because I'll do streams and every once in a while I'll go, oh, that's one of my top 10 favorite movies. And someone actually made a list and they were like, holy shit, you actually have 10. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, that's in my top 10. That's in my top 10. You say it so many times that you have like 50 top 10s.
Oh, I've got 10.
Well, someone actually DM'd me and said, so I made your list of top 10s. I'm like, holy shit, you actually have 10. And I go, yeah, that's it, man. After that, cinema sucks. But the Crow is in there. And they're like, why is the Crow in there? And I go, I don't know. I guess you just got to watch it. And the weird thing is, I don't even remember watching it the first time. My mom said it had a huge impact on me when I was 14 or whenever that movie came out. She said it had a huge impact on me. She said I grew up a big Bruce Lee fan and then therefore became a Brandon Lee fan. And but watching it post-aneurysm, something still resonated with me. Like, I really love that movie.
It's perfect, and I'll fight anyone who says anything else.
Yeah. It's really good. It's like structurally there. It's paced well. The acting's really good. It's got a great soundtrack. It's shot really well. It's like, and then from there, Alex Proyas went and made another movie in my top 10, which is Dark City, which is also a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
So like,
the fact that he used miniatures and did all kinds of crazy stuff, and he did a lot of really original things. Little takeaways from that movie. I mean, I could do hours on that movie. We've done top 10s and stuff on here, and that's my, because like at some point in your adult life, like because there's film school where you're like in film school and they're like, what's your favorite? Tell your five, and then you're like listening to like all these like fucking like really smart movies. And then at some point you have to just be honest with yourself. What is the movie that you could turn on and you know every line to, and that you just is perfect? That I watch The Crow. Especially if I'm watching with somebody else, I get all welled up and shit, and I get goosebumps, and my eyes well up, and they're like, "Are you feeling this?" And they're just like, "What?" I'm like all fucking into it. And they're like, "Yeah."
You're like, "This is the fucking Jesus and Mary chain."
I was like, "Did you hear it?" He like sighed when he fell off the building, and it's like they don't care. Yeah. And I'm like,
they don't give a shit.
But that movie is my number one. That's my number one favorite movie of all time.
What's funny about talking about being in like film school and stuff? I took film classes. I didn't go to film school, but I took film classes when I was in college. And we went around the room and everybody said their favorite movie. And it was around the time that Boondock Saints came out. And after about like the 10th kid said fucking Boondock Saints, I couldn't roll my eyes any fucking harder or they would have fell out of my fucking head. But it got to me and I said fucking Nothing But Trouble. And everybody was just like, what is that? like never heard of it. And it's like, yeah,
That's a good answer.
I know.
I was making a comparison the other day where I was talking about another top 10 of mine, which is the Predator, the first one. It's in my top 10, and people were like, really, Predator? Because my favorite movie of all time is The Day the Earth Stood Still, the 1951 Robert Wise movie. But like that, and that's not even my smart answer. I can watch that movie 1,000 times.
Right.
But Predator, I really, really love. And I was playing Resident Evil not too long ago, which is one of my favorite video game franchises. And I was comparing Resident Evil 1 to Predator, and people were like, what? That's the dumbest thing ever. What do you mean? This is nothing like Predator. And I go, the game opens with a group of badasses in a helicopter flying to a situation. In Predator, same thing. They thought they were going to alleviate a group of terrorists from a village or something, right? Like insurrectionists. Yeah. And I go, in Resident Evil, they thought they were going to go investigate a murder or missing people. They show up, it's fucking zombies and monsters. These guys show up, and it's an alien from outer space. And they're unprepared for the thing that you'd think they'd be trained for if they knew what they were going in to fight. I go, there's a lot of similarities between Predator and Resident Evil. And people were like, shit, I never thought of that. And I'm just like, well, this is why I love these things. And that's why I'm honest with myself. And I'm not going to give like a bullshit answer to my top 10 favorite movies. And Resident Evil, I apparently love so much that post-aneurysm, it was one of the first games I played because there was a lot of things I did, physical therapy, speech therapy, and someone actually recommended, hey, if you play some games, it might help with your problem solving, because they do these things where they'll drop a wallet on the ground and they want to see your problem solving skills of when you find a wallet to kind of help, it's like things like that, and that helps memory and things. So they were like, yeah, you should play some video games. You might, build up your problem solving skills. So my friend was like, oh, Resident Evil was your favorite game. You should play that. So I watched him play it for like an hour. And then an hour in, I start going, go down this hallway. And mind you, don't have any memories. So he's like, what? And I go down that hallway. I think the key's in the room at the end of the hallway. And he goes, oh, yeah. And he goes back, he goes, wait, how do you remember that? And I go, here, just give me. So he gave me the controller. And just on pure muscle memory from playing that game 1,000 times, I knew where to go in the mansion. And it was like a huge breakthrough for me. And they were like, holy fuck. Like, it was like a big progress leap for me. So that's why recently, with all the stuff I've been going through and my memory and everything, for those that don't know, I've been losing my short-term memory. So now I'm like, it's been really rough lately. Last week, I woke up at work folding T-shirts, and I had no idea how I got there. And then we found out that I couldn't remember anything of the last 7 days. So I was like crying. I was in the back. I didn't know what to do. I was hyperventilating. I had a panic attack. And what I wanted to do from that day forward was I wanted to just buy every time I stream Resident Evil or play it, I stream it. I share my experience with other people. I'm explaining the game, talking about it. And someone pointed out, dude, every time you do something, you don't do anything for you. If you buy a comic, it's because you're going to review it on YouTube. If you watch a movie, it's because you're going to review it on YouTube. You don't do anything for yourself anymore. Everything's for your channel. And he says, why don't you do something for you? So with my stimulus check, I bought a Nintendo Switch Lite, and I bought Resident Evil for it. And I sat in the dark the other night, not live streaming it, not playing it out for anyone else but me. And I sat in the dark for 2 hours and played it till midnight. And it was probably the best experience I had. And it was one of those things that made me feel like I was home, because it made me think about that night after my aneurysm. So it's funny, the things like, yeah, be honest with yourself. If you like something that other people think is trash, who gives a fuck? Yeah. Like, what's the problem with you liking it? Like, if you come up to me and say, hey, Birds of Prey was the first movie I saw in the theater, therefore it's my favorite movie of all time, I go, well, you'll experience real cinema one day. But for now, that's awesome that's your favorite movie, and I'm glad you like it, That's it.
Yeah, because like a friend of mine, I don't know. Yeah, we both know Leva, who is now wrestler Leva. She posted like, what's the honest take? She's like, I haven't watched Snyder Cut. Like, should I watch it? What's an opinion? So I posted my opinion, which is like, it's a better project because the tone matches throughout. So it's a complete version of that movie, which makes it superior to the other version. But then I wrote like something like, but the epilogue scene is like pure cringe. So just turn it off before that. And some guy like responded to me and was like wrote like some 3-page fucking thing about like how I was wrong.
Right.
And it was just like he was like, the dynamic between Joker and Batman. He was like, what? I was like, bro, I've been reading comics for like a long time.
Right. It's nothing new.
The Batman Joker dynamic blew my mind. And so, but all I wrote in reply was, "I'm happy you're happy." That's what I wrote, right. And that was like, I'm done arguing with people about this movie. Like, if you really love it, kudos to you, bro.
Yeah,
I can't convince you. If you want to hear my opinion, I'll tell you.
Sure.
Like, I'm done trying to explain why it's flawed in my opinion. So that's like the vibes. Like that's I learned my lesson the other night on Twitter that I'm not going to argue with anyone about this movie anymore. If you like it, hats off to you. If you like,
that's
whatever.
Yeah.
If you like fucking shoving peanut butter in your asshole, go to town. I don't care. It doesn't hurt me.
Well, I'll be back.
It hurts me sometimes.
That's what
I gotta go get a jar of peanut butter.
He's gotta go get some peanut butter. Yeah, I mean that's how it is. At the end of the day, I saw, because like I said, I'm on Twitter until tomorrow. Then I delete Twitter, but I'll see people on there go like fuck this reviewer, fuck this journalist who doesn't like the movie, blah blah blah. Like they're just chill, blah blah blah. And like I said, that's the problem with our society. We've got to a point where we just find a title for each other that's demeaning, and we slap that on like a sticker, and we just go, fuck this person, they're a shill. Fuck this person, they're an SJW. Fuck this person, they're a Nazi. It's like that's all we do now. And I'm like, we've stopped learning how to treat each other like people. And so for that reason, I'm just like, it's just a movie. Like it's like, who cares? So I tell them, I go, you did something impossible. You resurrected a dead movie. Like you really did something that's never been done before. So why not just sit on, you won. Like, what are you doing? Why are you arguing with people? You won. So why are you coming out and saying, fuck this journalist, fuck that journalist? The movie wasn't for them. You campaigned for this for 4 years. This movie's for you. Do you love it? Then fuck everyone else. Like literally, go find other people like you who love it, which you probably already know them because you've been campaigning with them for 4 years. But just go find more of them and be friends.
Right.
Like stop shitting on. That's what I hate when people creep into my mentions. I understand what social media is. You're publicly posting an opinion, right, and people have the right to come in and say something to you, and that's great. But when they come in a demeaning way and go, "Hey, fuck you, you're an idiot, you don't get it. Here's my 3 paragraphs of why you're wrong." It's like, what are you doing, man? Like come in and go, "Hey, dude, you know what? You know, I disagree with you. Here's why. But you know what? If you didn't like the movie, that's okay. You know, it's not for you." If people talked like that in fandoms, you wouldn't have that much bitching, and then you wouldn't have the other side countering with, "I'm glad you liked it." You know, like you wouldn't need to have that.
What really set me off about this guy on Twitter was that he was very searching because I hashtagged it, which I didn't know was like a hashtag that was going around, which was, I made a joke. I was like, "Unreleased the Snyder Cut." So I wrote hashtag unreleased the Snyder Cut. And apparently that was a thing that other people had done. And so he was clicking on the hashtag and replying. He had replied to like 20 people in a row. So he's seeking out like the confrontation of it. I'm just tweeting on my own page. I don't go like, and that's why I was telling him, I was like, I don't search in a movie that I like to find people who are trashing it to start arguments with them, because I'm not deranged in my brain. Like, if I like a movie, I'm going to tweet, God, like I just watched Minari. I'm not going to be like, who didn't like Minari? I'm going to find him on Twitter, and boy, I'm going to give it to him. Like,
I'm going to hashtag unreleased Minari, fuck you.
Yeah. Like, that's the brain damage of social media and those kinds of, and that's why that guy really got in under my skin, because he was replying just to like 20 different people who didn't like the Snyder Cut. And it's one, like, again, if he tweeted about how he liked it and I went to his page to trash him, then sure, let's go, let's have it up. But that's a weird behavior to me, because I like so many things and I've never searched out like, who's saying bad about it. Oh, I'm gonna get him.
Well, but that's also a positive sign for you, because like in the end, the person who's doing that is probably, I hope, younger than all of us, and just doesn't know better. Or it's because what social media is, which is it's a constant flow of dopamine hits that we all enjoy, because we usually end up in some kind of echo chamber at some point, because we just get tired of people coming into our mentions and being pissy, so we block them, and eventually we're just in a group of people that are like-minded of us, or at least close enough to us. And then we just get used to that, of those dopamine hits of, well, I got 50 likes on this picture and 100 on that one, or 3,000 on this one, or whatever. So I'm finding a lot of like-minded people. So the second something challenges you, it's the inverse of dopamine, and you just go right to rage. And so that's what I mean. It's like this programming that these companies will sit there and say, hey, we have nothing to do with that. That's not our fault. And it's like, but it is, because you guys foster these environments and let them just go the way they are without releasing, like Twitter should have these videos where it's like, hey, here's an idea on how to behave on Twitter if you want a better experience, and then just, they can have these helpful tippy things. Sure, people can ignore them or whatever, but just something that kind of says, like, here's what an actual debate is, and here's what just calling people names is, and it's like, and show the difference in a healthier way. And the problem is, these companies, they don't give a fuck. They want us to all fight, and they want us to rage out on each other. And then they'll come in and go, oh, we don't like that kind of behavior here. But they're selective about it. And so to me, at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't care what side you're on, right or left. I don't care if you like Snyder or not. I don't care if you're a DC fan or a Marvel fan. None of those things matter. If you just talk to me like a person, I will do the same to you, or I'll block you, and I don't care. And what's even more fucked up is the people that get a dopamine rush from being blocked, and they think that's some kind of reward, where they're like, fuck yeah, how long ago it take to get them to block me? One comment? Yeah, fuck that guy. And you're like, you didn't win anything. That's actually the most pathetic victory that is imaginable, is that you found a way to get a human being to disconnect from you. That should be the antithesis of all of our goals. And yet this person,
that to any of those people is a fucking lost cause. Like,
well, some are, but I don't like to give up on people either. Like, I like to believe that I was a lost cause at one point, and somehow I managed to find a path that isn't as rocky as the one I was on before. I believe we are better than what we present ourselves as. So sometimes, depends on the day. Sometimes
sir, you are far too positive for me.
Well,
far too positive for me.
I can be a dick, and I can be these things, and I've definitely shut people down and snapped at people. I'm not perfect. I'm not here to be perfect. But if you catch me on the right day, some days I won't just block you. I'll be like, you know what? Something else, I can read into this comment, and something else is going on. It has nothing to do with me. Let me figure out what's wrong with this person. It's not my job to heal anyone, but sometimes people just want to be heard. And I'm like, look, I don't agree with what you're saying, but lay it on me, man. And then I'll let them lay it on me.
You guys were talking earlier, and you were talking about the experience you had working for Lego, and the dude like came at you, and you just asked him, "Hey, what the fuck's going on? Like, something going on with your day, whatever?" And you were able to diffuse that situation. That shit took me back, man, because my first job was at Toys R Us.
Oh shit!
And it was like the height of fucking Furbies.
Oh shit!
Like that shit. That was the big Christmas fucking ticket item that year that I started working there. And I had probably like 90 of those conversations where it was like, I just fucking work here, dude. Like,
hey.
I'm in the back unloading the truck, and they're like, yeah, I know. Did it come in yet? And it's like, you'll fucking know when everybody else knows.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. There's 42 pallets back there, and I didn't see every single box. They're saran wrapped together. Like I don't. That's my issue, is that and the weird thing is sometimes you get attacked by people who have worked in retail before.
Yeah.
And they know the shitty behaviors, but yet they repeat it. It's like someone who's in an abusive relationship and can't get out of it. It's like that's how it seems sometimes, and I can say that from experience. So it's like it feels like that. Not always, not every case is different, obviously, but yeah, like you get those people that just want to come in and tell you what your job is and how you need to do it and bend over for them. And that's what I've noticed working in retail again after years of not doing it, was the level of entitlement. There are a lot of people that are just like, I'm entitled, but I look past that behavior. I try to. And for me, my conclusion, it's a theory. It doesn't mean it's true, but I feel like it stems of their behaviors online. So like I said, that one guy threatened me by saying, I'm a blue check mark. I'm going to go online and get you fired. And I'm like, dude, I'd love for you to go online because you clearly don't know who I am. and you'd be really surprised. You'd be really surprised to see how hard it would be to cancel me over me just following a policy thing at my work. Like, they're going to go, wait, the aneurysm kid that was on Dan Harmon's show? And then I'm like, the tides will turn really fast. And I go, but at the end of the day,
on the internet and look me up, dick face. Like,
right. But at the same time, I don't care. Like, it's like, if you want to go on and ruin me, fine. I'll just delete Twitter. Like, I don't need Twitter anyway. Like, I make YouTube stuff because now I'm invested in the character of Venom. So I just like talking about him. And I like seeing the similarities I have to a guy who, you know, something Justin said earlier, which was actually more closer to home than he probably even knew, which was you go through these years of trouble, financial trouble, health trouble. And he said, I would have checked out a long time ago. I tried to check out, you know, like 5 years ago in 2016. I was like, I'm tired of the pain. I'm tired of waking up every day in pain. I'm tired and struggling financially and having new problems. And now the shoulder and now the back. And it got to a point where I was like, I can't do it anymore. So I did. I came up with a will. I said, you know, my mom should take my dog, and, you know, and I'm going to miss him, and I'm sorry. And I tried to check out. And like all things at life, I failed at that too. And then I really had to like look at myself and go, okay, well, clearly I can't even check out before I'm supposed to. Like life I got, you know, hit by a brain aneurysm lightning bolt in 2010. That couldn't punch my ticket. I couldn't punch my own ticket. So what am I supposed to do? And so the thing I started doing that made me feel, I noticed I wasn't connecting to people anymore. And I think after the last 4 years, I still decided I don't want to really connect with people, but I really want to see people connect more with each other. So I know people say like, oh, you're Mr. Positivity, you're in this. It's like, no, I'm an asshole sometimes too. I have my limits and I'm just like everyone else. But I'd like to still believe that there is hope for us on some level. And I guess there's a part of me that just doesn't want to give up because clearly something's not ready to give up on me yet. And I guess I kind of want to feel like I'm giving that energy back out to people.
That's so solid, man.
Well, sorry, I was not to ruin the moment of me opening up, but I saw Furby junkies in the comments and that made me smile. So
yeah,
they were some of the worst, like just random people that would come in and be like, I need that. Like everybody that just came in here today fucking needs that guy. Like, right. Shut your mouth.
Well, it's like that with Funko Pops now, and it's like that with everything. And my brother, he goes to different Walmarts and Targets looking for Pokemon cards, and the people that work at those stores are complete dickheads to him, and they're like, "Oh, you can only buy one pack per person." And my brother's like, "What the fuck, man?" I'm like, you know, I'm a fan. I want to get a couple of them. If I get a good card, sure, maybe I'll flip it online so I can help pay my child support. Like, I'm a human being too. Like, you know,
yeah.
It's like. We get too precious with these things. We start judging people. We get into these modes, and I don't like it. Like I just want. I'm not saying I want peace. I'm not saying we have to agree on shit. I'm not saying fighting should end. I'm not saying violence should end, because none of that's realistic. But I think there are some things on our checklist of shit we do to each other that we can erase. And that's, at the end of the day, that's my stance on it. Is like, we have 50,000 things that we can argue and fight over. We could probably eliminate 20,000 of them.
So you're saying when I go to Target to look for toys and then I walk by the registers, and I always, like, sometimes because I pee a lot, so I usually go to the restroom first when I and then that usually takes me down the line of registers, and I always cut through that wall of cards.
Yeah.
And, like, half the time there's like two sad dudes there, like, you buying fucking Pokemon.
One was my brother.
So you're saying I should not whisper to myself, fucking nerds, while I'm also going straight to the toy section to look for action figures.
Well, here's the thing: whispering to yourself doesn't hurt anybody.
That's true.
So you're fine.
But
no, what I'm saying is,
the shit out of their hands and, like, you know, like,
Honestly, I think a lot of people should be like the guys that would come in and ask to see what Hot Wheels came in, because they were the easiest dudes to fucking deal with. Where I would just bring out a box of fucking Hot Wheels, set it on the fucking floor, cut it open for them, and I could walk the fuck away. And I would come back, and either the box was empty,
right,
or there was like 10 or 12 taken out of it, and they didn't say shit to me. They weren't worried about anything. They got what they wanted, and they fucking left.
Yeah.
Just do that. Get what you want, and fucking leave, and don't bother anybody with your bullshit.
Like, imagine, like, I always feel bad for, like, Target and Walmart people who have to deal with collectors, because there are some that are very intense and very annoying.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that people at Target, especially if you're non-California, make, like, $10 an hour or whatever the fuck.
Right.
And they're just trying to get through their shitty day, and you're in there harassing them about NECA figures, and they're just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Leave me alone. And you're just like, oh, it says here on this website you've never heard of that you have 5 in stock. You can check the back. And you as the person in the store are just like, why don't you fuck off? Like, why are you bothering me? Like, so I like, when I ask somebody to check for something and they do, I literally make it a point to thank them so many times. And I am like,
I've never, because of my fucking experience, I've never asked anybody to look for shit. I will not ask anybody to go in the back and look for fucking anything.
If it's something serious, I will. So, like, this lady at Target,
I fucking will. You have a job to do.
She was like, she went back twice, 2 different times.
Well, fucking now I gotta. It is their job.
Yeah, I went the other day.
It was my job. It was my job, but fuck.
The other day I went to a Target because I saw the new Halo figures came out, and so I was like, okay, well, obviously I want them because I'm a big Halo fan. So I went over there, and they had a bunch of them on the shelf. So I was like, oh, this is the new series. Perfect. So I grabbed 3 of them. I looked on the back. I was like, I don't even keep up with toys. I didn't even know they were coming out already. So I saw on the back, I'm like, all right, there's 6 in the set. These are the 4 I want. They have 3. They don't have the 4th one. So I went over. I was like, how much are they? Because they didn't have the right tag or whatever. So I was like, well, I want to make sure the price. So I go over, I scan them, and it says their price, and then it says, oh, there's 7 more in the back. And that's what it says at Target now.
Yeah,
so I go,
I go,
yeah. So I was like, hey, all right. So I went over, and I said, excuse me, sir. I was like, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're probably working on something else. I go, it's no rush. I'll walk around and do other shopping. But in the next, like, 20 or 30 minutes or so, like, would you mind checking the back for this figure? It's Halo. If you bring the box out, I'll just take the one I want, and I'll put the rest on the shelf for you, and I'll even flatten the box and recycle it for you. I was like, I literally am not trying to be a hassle at all.
A brief massage. I'll massage your shoulder.
Yeah, right. I'll rub your temples. I'll rub your feet. Whatever. And he was like, and then he literally looked at me and goes, look, whatever's out there on the shelf is out there on the shelf. And I go, okay, I get it that you want to dismiss me and you're working on other things, and that's fine. I go, if you can't help me, can you radio for someone to help me? Just bring the box out. I'll put them on the shelf. Like, I'm literally just trying to make this as easy as possible so I can walk away. And the guy was just like, fine. You know what? I'll do it. And I just go, look, I'm sorry to inconvenience you. I'm a customer, and you work in customer service. And I go, and I get that it sucks. I work at Lego. I have to go in the back and look for things all the time for people. I go, I totally get what I'm asking for you, but I understand, for me, I don't want to drive around to 50 other Walmarts today and Targets looking for one $10 figure if it's right here. I go, you would be helping me out a lot. I'll take an online survey, whatever's on the receipt, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And he was like, fine. So he goes in the back and comes back out. He brings the box. It wasn't in the box. So I said, I was like, okay, well, I'll still put these out like I promised you. And then he goes, look, he's like, you guys with your toy collecting and everything, he's like, you guys know the store better than us, blah, 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 blah. And I go, sir, I'm not, whatever you think I am, some kind of scalper or anything, like, I'm not any of that. I only know you have 7 in the back because that machine over there told me when I scanned it. I go, that's it. Your own technology told me that. And I said, I'm not here to be a pain in the ass, dude. I literally don't appreciate being talked to the way you're talking to me and lumping me in with a group of guys you have a negative opinion on. I'm not here for that. I'm just a Halo fan. I have Halo tattoos on my arm. Like, I just want one figure. I'm not here to buy the whole box, and I'm going to leave. And so, yeah, but I hate that. It's like everyone gets defensive on a thing. So my advice, I guess, the point I was trying to get to is if someone comes into your comments and they shit on you for having an opinion, or you go to a store and you ask someone for help and they get offended by it, and you work, if you work in retail, anytime you get that experience, the thing that got me through it, the reason I talked to that guy that you mentioned earlier, where I just was like asking what's wrong with his day, what's going on with him. The reason I did that is because the first thing you got to remember is that none of it is personal. It's just someone projecting something that you have no control over, some kind of misdirected hate or something else that's going on, has nothing to do with you. It's just like road rage, like you said before. It's like we get cut off every day. We don't get pissed at every single one. But that fifth or sixth one, we lose our shit and we're ready to kill somebody. It's a projected anger. So just my advice to anyone who's watching this still, don't take anything like that personally, unless someone literally says, hey, I'm going to kill you and your mother. Then you kill that person first. but other than that, don't take it personally.
I think with just to circle back, if you are a collector, your best option to go into these stores, and if you want them, is just to have the fucking barcode. If you can get the barcode, because they have those little things, and that is the least inconvenient thing for them to do.
Your best option as a collector is to actually work at the fucking store, because that's what I did when I worked at Toys R Us. And I was buying McFarlane toys, I would pull that shit off the truck, and I would climb in the back. I would climb the fucking scaffolding shit that they have everything sitting on, and I would climb to the top of that, and I'd sit there and fucking open it. And I would set out what I wanted, and then I would fucking put the rest out on the fucking shelf. Yeah. And that's how I got half the shit that I fucking had. At that time.
That happens pretty often if you go to a lot of stores and it says they have it in stock and it's not there.
Right.
That's usually because the employees are either saving it for themselves and that sort of thing. But even if that happens, the lady that you're asking about it doesn't know, so you can't be like, yeah. It says right here, like she's like, I don't know, like
sure. Right.
Leave her alone, like she's.
Yeah.
I only have 2 hours left of my shift. Please.
right.
She wants to get home and watch Grey's Anatomy. She doesn't give a shit about your fucking toy.
Right.
What are these draft pod dickheads saying?
They say all kinds of dumb shit.
That's like Justin.
Something about you hating yourself.
He's projecting.
Himself on Draft Pod. My only social media is this. It's Venom Vlog here on Instagram. Because tomorrow I'm deleting Twitter. I think I saw Draft Pod ask that earlier. So, yeah, I'm deleting Twitter tomorrow. So I'll only be here and on YouTube. That's it. Oh, and I also, Justin, I also said when you went to the bathroom earlier, I said that I'm going to keep this account open. So, in like a couple months when I get back on here and I'm using it more, I would love to come back and chat with you guys again because this was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sorry it took me so long to come here the first time. I apologize.
I know it's fine. I wouldn't follow Draft Pod back though, unless you want to hear 4 to 5 hours of them debating what kind of pies are good.
Cherry pie probably is the best, but
no, with fucking apple, like some kind of goddamn savages.
Debates. Give them a follow back. They're drafting pies. But I'm the bad guy over here with my giant.
It was literally the draft pie cast yesterday.
What are you, some key lime pie eating motherfucker?
Dude, key lime made it almost to the fucking. Oh, fuck you! I was so mad.
Talking about pies that I am convinced don't exist. You ever had the Virginia brown pie? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, they were on some weird bullshit, and they were like, "Oh, that's fucking delicious. How do I choose?" And it's like, you don't, because it's fucking trash.
Pies that we just made up that aren't real. That's a show that they do.
they did do that yesterday.
That's a show that they do that's more popular than ours, probably. Maybe.
Sadly, I think it is.
I mean, well, it's because I don't have a beard, so.
Yeah.
Work on it.
Yeah, you'll get there.
I can grow a mustache.
I actually trimmed my beard today, and I got really upset because this sideburn, I couldn't shave the white out of it. It's like just white now, and it makes me sad. It's like I can take it all off, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just leave it. It's white now.
Anybody want to see this new pin with us? Anyone? I feel like
Is that Storm? What is she doing?
she's got like one of those things that you smack people with.
Yeah.
That's Cyclops. His legs are tied together, and.
Jeez! Wow.
It seriously looks like she has like a big black dildo.
Storm, step on me.
Yeah, I thought it was a dildo at first, but apparently in the description it's like a whip thing.
It's just a riding crap.
So it's just he's all bent over.
Oh man, I never thought I'd see a pin with me getting beaten by Storm.
Yeah. What about this weird raccoon Cyclops I found? I'm the king of Cyclops. No one can take this from me. No one, you won't have this raccoon baseball. What even is this?
What is it?
There's like 9 things jammed together.
You can't tell, but he has a fireball and Wolverine claws, and he's a raccoon. Yeah, he's a raccoon.
Oh, is it like a Super Mario version of Cyclops?
It's from something called. This one's called. It says AZ number 5. Seeing is believing. It's called Odyssey of the Mind. I don't know if it's an event where people do drugs, but they make pins for it.
Finally, we find out why you really brought me on the show. You want to know about Odyssey of the Mind?
I really would. I really would. I also collect these.
Oh yeah, those are cool. I saw that the other day at the store.
While my Target, my normal go-to Target, which usually doesn't have much, they had 40 plus Toonie Terrors. They must have got all of them in the area. I got the Bloody Ash. I got the Bloody Eye Mike. This is the variant of the other one. And then I got the one I wanted the most.
Repaint?
Yeah, and then I got the Ghostface.
Oh, that's cool looking. Whoa, he's cool.
Yeah, they had so many in my store. I was like, I about shit my pants. They only had one Beetlejuice left because the hottest ones are like, well, the Grady twins, which were all Walmart exclusive. Yeah, that one.
I got Leatherface.
Hey, it's a dog.
And I got the Jason sitting next to me too.
Nice.
I almost drove out to Target today because I was kind of bored, but I was trying to get my room in order. It's taken a fucking while.
I don't want to hear your excuses.
All right.
Room's in order now, and I didn't make it to Target.
Yeah, my Target was stacked on NECA stuff today. They didn't have anything that I didn't already have.
Mm-hmm.
It's new, but man, they have
I also wanted to go to Walmart for that shredder.
Oh, you know who got me that shredder?
Who got you that shredder? Did he really?
Yeah, because I looked it up on BrickSeek and I used my mom's zip code and I told him, I was like, oh, it says they have 6 at the Findlay Walmart because he's buying those, and he went and he got me one. He hasn't shipped them.
Maybe I'll hit him up, see if they're still there.
Dude, those you can get the turtles, the 2-packs too. They're crazy. NECA was like, because they were like, oh, we're really gonna stock the Walmarts with these, and I was like, yeah, right. But like, they are like Walmart's, like some of the Walmarts got like hundreds of boxes of these things, so they're not like a hard.
Didn't have shit on Friday.
So if you want the original 4, now's your chance because they're not going to be expensive. The market is a good price, and the super shredders are they literally made so many, which makes sense because they had to have been making so much money from this line. Not to get derailed, but
no, I like Ninja Turtles.
This is what we talk about. We're not.
I did
what we talk about.
My first Kickstarter, the variant cover was drawn by Kevin Eastman. So
shit.
yeah, and he was really nice. I told him I was a fan of his, and he was like, "Hey, I'll draw one cover," and I said, "Okay," and he goes, "And why don't the other cover you and I draw together?" So I did the pencils, and Kevin Eastman inked my pencils. I was like, "Holy fuck!" I mean, talk about a dream come true. That
Dude,
guy still, I'll hear from him from time to time, and he'll be like, "Hey, you still around? You still kicking? How you doing?" Like he's, and I'm like, I told my mom, it's like my friend earlier, like I said, he's like on a text message basis with Snyder. Like I like maybe once every couple of years, I'll get an email from Kevin Eastman, or I'll email him and he'll respond. But nicest guy, and he still asks about me. Like he did a signing at Golden Apple right before the pandemic, and he's like, "How's Zeke doing?" And I was like, "How the fuck? Like, what a life! Like that's why at the end of the day, I don't get bummed out about anything, because I'm like, man, I had two good lives, like two fucking good lives. Like I really, even the hardship doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter at all.
I hope to someday have one good life.
I'll take half of one.
I'm sure it's better than you think. I'm sure it is.
I mean, I have a really hot girlfriend, and my dog is nice, and I have all of these.
Shit.
I have
there you go.
those NECA turtles. Can't be.
It's awesome.
That's the thing about collecting too. When you amass a lot of stuff, and you're like, "Oh my god, I wish I." And then I sometimes have to go, I have a lot of cool stuff. Like, just relax. Like,
yeah, I did something today I thought I would never do. Because Justin, you know, I don't like opening my shit.
Yeah.
And it still bothers me because I'm looking right at him. But today I opened up all my Where the Wild Things Are McFarlane's.
Wow. Oh wow, yeah.
I've been sitting on those for a really long time, and
what made you open?
I had them out since we moved. So we moved, and I just fucking got them out, and a lot of the plastic had oranged out.
Right, okay.
So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna open them, and it still bothers me. It bothers me so bad that they're sitting on a shelf.
I find
but that
a lot of
crazy.
The old McFarlane bubbles yellowed a lot. I see them in stores and stuff. They yellowed. Those ones you have to open because the plastic is pretty gross.
I have a crow figure from McFarlane. It's all yellow.
Open that.
Yeah.
I've got an Evil Ash that's pretty yellow in a box somewhere.
My only one of my Thing figures from the movie Maniacs, only one of those is yellowed or oranged out, but I don't want to open those. I really don't.
I only open and that's another thing is like, because I was like, oh, when I've been collecting Legends, you know, since Legends came out, my X-Men characters, but like I always kept them in the packaging, and the nice thing about the McFarlanes is I actually open them. So like, because all my X-Men Legends, unless it's a Cyclops, which I buy two of, one to open, one to box, and unless it's a Cyclops, all my X-Men Legends, all my Marvel Legends, even the MCU stuff, is all boxed. I don't know why. That's my weird thing. But like the McFarlane thing is like, I guess I just care less about them.
Sure.
And I think they're also better display figures, because I see people with shelves of Marvel Legends, and I go, they look like it just look like someone just splattered paint, like bright yellow primary colors on a shelf. Because like Legends are cool, and I like them, and they're hit or miss, but like they're bright colors, they're very simple. The McFarlane stuff looks good on a shelf for $20. You're getting a pretty good deal.
Ooh, like all my wall.
Legends are right here, and then there's the Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, those are fucking cool looking open though.
Yeah, it's gonna take some getting used to.
I think just think about should be open for sure. Like, cause especially if you really have because like I still go back and I'm still quietly debating about selling all my MCU Marvel Legends.
Okay.
Just because, like, I'm not that juiced about them anymore, and the fact that they're boxed gives me an easy resale option for more money.
Right.
And I just don't
like all my NECAs are on the floor behind me, and I want to open them, but I'm probably not going to. I think I'm going to put them above the Legends. I think I got just enough space to row it and do that. Make them up, leave them in the box.
In regards to what draft pod, which is actually Andy, important side note about the draft pod. There are 3 guys. They all have beards and wear the same glasses. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying that is a fact.
You're just painting a picture. Yeah.
But these, you know, he's too nice to say it, but he did tell me in a previous conversation that Kevin Eastman doesn't like pies. So your whole thing is stupid.
He said pies are for losers, and they should never be talked about or drafted.
He's a cupcake guy all the way.
Yeah.
He only likes it a pizza pie. Huh? Hey.
But they did pizzas also.
I got the first 2 issues of The Last Ronin. It's a good time. I never thought I'd buy a Ninja Turtle comic, but I'm into that. It's pretty good.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I got both issues also.
Oh shit! Now I gotta fucking buy comics again.
Good luck trying to get that first copy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good luck with that one. Wait till the hardcover comes out.
Yeah, I would wait till it's collected because like that first issue is skyrocketed. No one has it.
Nerds.
Cyclops, noted apple pie enthusiast. Cyclops is definitely more of cold. He just eats cold cereal and soup. That's all he eats. He's a bowl eater. If it's not a bowl, he's not gonna eat it with a spoon. Courtney's slim thick with his fine ass. If Courtney got fat, he would fit right in. That's true. Courtney does have similar glasses than you guys. You guys could have a foursome. But then he's a similar podcast with all of his good opinions.
But you'd watch it more.
I would stop watching because he would be leaving me to go work for the enemy.
Okay. the enemy, a show about pies.
Yeah, I mean they do other shows there, but I only listen to their podcast when I'm on it. So because
it's funny. Someone asked me that recently. They're like, "Why don't you do more appearances on other people's shows?" And I go, "Because those are the episodes I skip." So like I'll listen to your other stuff, but I'm like, "Oh, I was on that one. I don't want to hear myself talk. I'm an asshole," and I skip over. You're like, where am I at? Which episode?
Your other shows, I just want to hear me talk. And then I'm just like, the whole time I'm like, oh god, I sound like I'm in a fucking tin can. I'm like a nasally Midwest voice in a can. Oh my god.
I think the first 500 episodes of the Venom vlog, I didn't start doing live streams until after episode 500, I think. So the first 500 are just stuff that I shot of me alone talking and editing it. So I've seen each episode like 3 or 4 times from filming it to editing it.
Right.
And people are like, have you ever gone back and watched some of your old episodes? I'm like, fuck no. Like, no, not a single, even when I had guests on, I never went back and rewatched. I'm like, nope, I don't care. Because someone was like, oh, well, you said this in this episode, and now you're saying this. I go, I don't give a shit. I changed my mind. Doesn't matter. Like, who cares?
Yeah, we definitely don't have anybody watching our old stuff to contradict our newer episodes. Because, like, we don't have, like, that kind of following. So, like, I'm always impressed with when anyone even tells me they've watched any of the YouTube videos. Because they're pretty long. So, like, kudos if you watch them. I wouldn't watch them. It's too long.
It's not worth it.
I'd watch about like I said. I think the first hour of our show. If you watch our first hour, whatever we came on to talk about, and then the rest is just like we're bullshitting at that point, which actually is the part I enjoy.
The rest is this.
Yeah. The rest is this, which is like free balling, which I enjoy more. But like if you were watching for entertainment value, first hour for sure. Because we like our.
I don't know. The first hour was just me and you. So if they tune in, it's probably because of you.
I don't know. I don't think everyone's sick of this fucking face. But Like we've done some good episodes like that. I mean, like I said, that X-Men Guinness episode is pretty good. I really like our NECA episode, which I don't remember which episode that is, where we do like a dream toy line of NECAs and stuff. And those are what's always sad about those is like
it was only like fucking 3 episodes ago, I think.
No, that's way more.
Yeah.
It's like 6 or 7.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
You're old.
Oh yeah.
But like those would be the episodes where we like when we like really we like spend like 2 weeks like, all right, we got all this great material, we're gonna fucking kill it. And then we get on here and no one's on. So we're just like bullshitting with ourselves about this great topic. That we have all these great like ideas and all this stuff, and no one's on. It'll be the episodes where we're just like this, and there'll be like 14 people on, and they're just like, hey, and I'm like, we don't have anything good for you tonight.
Yeah, I've done that where I'm like, I'll like do some research and try to figure out some bit of the next Venom movie or something, and I'm like, fuck, man, people are gonna love this shit. Like, I don't see Variety's not talking about this website's not talking about it, and whatever. And then I go make the video, and it's got like 40 views, and I'm like,
I'm like, for 40 views.
Well, yeah, and I used to want to kill for 40 views. Now I'd kill for like 200 views because I seem to taper off around 100 now on average, which is great. I like that, but it's like, but it's kind of like, I made a really good point in this video. I want more people to see it. But then again, like at the end of the day, I'm like, I made a really good point about Venom. Who really gives a fuck? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
What have we been 2 years, Justin? We've been doing this for like 2 years.
It feels like less, but it has been 2 years.
Yeah, I don't think anything we've ever done got 100 views.
No, I don't even think that's
2 years.
It was weird. The thing that it's so weird. Like I think about when I first started my YouTube channel, I just did the Seek and Destroy show, and it was like a variety show. So like every episode was like, all right, I'll buy a toy and talk about it, or I'll watch a movie and talk about it. So it was just something different every time. So it didn't really have a structure. And I shot in my old studio apartment, so the set was kind of bland looking and the camera was awful. I think I shot it on a Kindle Fire phone, actually.
Nice.
And so then one day,
Kindle Fire phones.
Yeah, bro. I went to Toys R Us, and the Toys R Us on La Brea was like the first Toys R Us that got the Star Wars Rebels figures, and I just happened to be in there, and they just put them out. I was like, holy cow, this is that new Star Wars cartoon that's by Dave Filoni. I was like, you know what? These are neat. And I went on to YouTube on my phone. I didn't see anyone had any toy reviews of it. So I picked them up, brought them to the counter. The lady was like, oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't look like I can sell these to you. They're not scanning out. And I go, are you sure? She goes, well, what was the price? And I told her. I ended up buying all the toys. I guess I had them almost a full month early. So I went home, filmed a video on it. It was like my third episode of Seek and Destroy. And I filmed a video on it and put it up, and it was like 30,000 views in like a week. And I was like, what the fuck? I go, what? I was like, holy shit. And then I actually got like an email from someone going, how the fuck did you get those toys? And I was like, I'll never tell, Disney scum. And then what ended up happening, I ended up deleting the video, but it was like, that right there got me like 40 subscribers, and like, make more Star Wars Rebel stuff. But then after that, I was never the guy to get first of anything ever again on the channel until I did the Venom thing. And the Venom thing just took off. It was weird because I think it was just, I've tried so many things on YouTube from 2014 to 16. None of it worked. I think I got a total of a couple hundred subscribers in that time, but only because I was on like Dan Harmon's podcast, or I had done something that was way bigger than me. And that brought a few people, but most of them were just like, you're just gonna talk about toys? Fuck this loser. Like, I thought this was the guy who had health problems, and he's like a modern day Jesus. And I'm like, I never said that about myself. Like, I collect toys. I'm a nerd, and I have flaws. And so the Venom thing though, it took off. And I think because I saw Venom 1 early, and Tom Hardy did an intro for the show, that was like a big help boost. And then going to the set of the second movie was another big boost. So really, I'm only at the level I'm at, again, because of outside things. But I can tell right now, when I announce that, like, I'm not doing Venom vlog anymore after this season, I think a lot of people are going to feel pissed off and betrayed. But the thing is, I need a lot of times memory to do the show. So if I progressively get worse, I just won't be able to do the show anymore. So I think what I'll end up doing is something a lot like what you guys are doing, which is why another reason why I wanted to come do this and kind of get this kind of like a vibe was I think I'll just talk about behavioral things that we do to each other. Like I think literally I'll just make a video where I'm going to buy a backdrop where it's like the moon looking at Earth, and I'll just sit and that'll be my backdrop, and I'll just sit and stare at the Earth and just go like, why the fuck do humans do this to each other? And I'll just pick a topic, make a 5-minute video on it, and from now on that'll be my content, because I won't need any memory to do that day to day, and it'll be pretty relatively easy, but it'll talk about something that I do want to talk about. I think I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't want to, I like interacting with other Venom fans and being part of a community, but I'm not as much as people want me to be. Like, yeah. I think people are like, dude, join Discord and join Clubhouse and promote on Facebook and do this. And I'm just like, look, man, I like making the show. I like talking to you guys here on the show, and I'll stick it around on Instagram. But like, that's it. That's like my limit, because at the end of the day, my life outside of YouTube is changing big time. And I have to be aware of that and cater to that and work on that. And healing and work and being a little selfish and stuff. And it's like, this is it. This is the thing we've been waiting like so many years for to happen to me. It's finally happening. So at the end of the day, I hope people just understand that, and that they're just like, if they really like watching my stuff, they'll watch anything I make, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. I watched that Moon show.
Thanks.
Sweet. I'm gonna watch the Moon show. I would watch that over the Venom show just because I have not a lot of interest in the Venom movies or what's going on with Venom comics.
Yeah, not a lot of people do.
But I have an interest in people I know who make stuff content-wise, so I try to watch and do my best because there's so much content out there.
Well, sure. That's why I would make it 5-minute episodes. I would just keep it short.
Well, you don't want to do it like us, like we are now at the 3-hour, 20-minute mark.
Well, the only reason I would, no, I like that personally, but that's what I do now in Venom Vlog. Like, my live streams usually go 2 hours. A lot of my videos are minimum half hour. So you imagine doing, I've done 600 plus at least 30-minute episodes. It's a lot of fucking content in 3.5 years. Like, that's a lot of shit. So I definitely know I can grind when it comes to this stuff, and that helps out when you, like, I think 1 week I put out 14 videos in 1 week. And that's still my record. I don't think I've topped that record, but I don't want to break that record. That's too fucking many videos. And I work, at that time I was a manager at Lego, so I was working a full-time job, 40 hours a week. So it's like doing that and pumping out that much content. I just never was sleeping. It was unhealthy. And I think a lot of the reasons I'm in the state I'm in health-wise is because I, for years, just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, because I'm like, what you said earlier, like, I like, this stuff is an escape from reality for me. My reality some days sucks really bad. So I started escaping more and more and more and more. And unfortunately, the reality of that is that it took its toll on my actual body and mind. And now I'm in the state where I'm at. I probably accelerated the degradation of my body and mind. I probably I made it happen faster. And so that's why now I'll be like, I'm going to finish the season of Venom Vlog, try to get it done by the end of the year, get my 3 novels out this year. And then 2022, I literally just want to make like 1 video a week where I sit on the moon and stare at Earth and just talk about bullshit. And that's what I want to do for the rest of my days. I think it'll be a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
Sounds fucking right.
Shout out to whoever was giving the hearts during you talking about how your brain was like, your health was degrading and somebody was tapping that heart button. That's a monster. I don't know who was doing it, but shout out for you to being an asshole. He's like, my health degrading lady, and they're just like, tap, 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 the heart. Yeah.
There's probably there's probably like a 5-second delay, and they were doing the thing earlier when I was.
Sure. These monsters.
People are good. People are good.
Another.
People are both.
Yeah, people are both. That's exactly it. People are both. And that's why I get so mad at people is like, we're both. Like we have our days where we're shitty and we're worthless and we're just a drain on society and we're monsters. And then we have the times where we're the opposite. That's why we're already perfect. We can be all these things. The part where we're imperfect is accepting each other for that. Wink, wink. But that's what gets me upset. I'm just like, they're like, oh, you said this, like you said earlier, you said this when you're 15. I'm like, even you've said shitty stuff when you're 15. Don't act like you've been some saint your whole life.
When I was 15, I said horrible.
Yeah, I was a fucking piece of shit, probably. Yeah, exactly.
I said horrible things today.
Yeah, but those again, like I don't think you having moments of things like that, they don't define you as a person. Like that's not your whole being. Is that one thing? And for the people that it is, we stay away from those people.
Because a week ago at Walmart, I told an old lady to fuck off. So.
Fuck that old lady, though. I mean, I saw her. She was a real bitch.
It was actually super funny, but I felt bad afterwards. But it was super funny in the moment because.
Was she buying like cornflakes, and you're like, "Get Raisin Bran, you fucking bitch"?
No, she was actually an employee, and
what the hell?
Like I have like weird social anxiety, so like when I'm out in public and I'm usually by myself, just head down, get to where I'm going, do what I do, and fucking jet. Well, I'm in that mode already. I get out of my car and I walk in, and I walked in the wrong door. I walked in the exit, and I had headphones in, and I look up and I see the lady, and she's pointing at me, and she's like, "Hey." So I'm like, "Okay," and I go around. So as I go around, which is, like the doors are spaced out by that little spacer. That's all it took was go around that. So I'm back inside the door, and she's still saying shit to me. Like I got it on the other side of that little partition. Right. And now on the right side of it, you can stop talking to me. And she's just like blah 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 blah, and I can't hear. I got fucking headphones on. Right. I'm just like, fuck off. Like I looked right at her and said, fuck off. And then I looked over at the kid that was like doing the carts, and his eyes were fucking dinner plates. So I'm like, that hit me that like I might have made that kid's day. Like he probably wants to tell her that every time he fucking sees her. And I was like, fuck it. But then, like, by the time I got to where I was going, I was like, man, that was really fucking mean. You should probably say you're sorry. And then I talked myself out of saying that I was sorry because it meant I had to talk to somebody in fucking public, and I didn't want to do that either. And it was weird. But, yeah. I
mean, I'll confess something that happened tonight even. So just to burst everyone's bubble of me that they think I'm perfect or something. Like, tonight I was at a drive-thru at Taco Bell because I was trying to get food so I can get home, scarf it down before this started so I could eat something today. And so I'm strung out. I had a rough day. My shoulder's fucking killing me because I was on a ladder moving motorcycle helmets around all night. And I'm in a bad mood. I'm on the phone with my mom, and I'm trying to calm down. I'm like, all right, don't take it out on anybody. I go up to the drive-thru at Taco Bell, and I ask the lady, I go, yeah, I want to get the whatever combo I got. And she's like, okay. And then I go, oh, and can I have hot sauce with that? And she goes, well, are you done with your food order? And I go, pardon me? And she goes, are you done with your food order? Because you have to wait till the end to tell me what sauces you want. And I just go, yeah, no, I guess I'll take nachos and cheese also. And then again, I'll reinstate that I want hot sauce. And then I was confused at first because I'm like, what a Nazi thing. It's like, it's such a Nazi thing to say, like, no, order like this. And I'm like, okay, so I was in disbelief. My mom goes, "You okay?" And I go, "God, I hate cunty people." And my mom goes, "What did you say?" And I go, "Nothing." And that was the end of my anger of it. I just let it come out by saying the C word like that. But I pull up, and there's like this little black lady, and she was like, "All right, your total's whatever." And I'm like, "This is the lady that told me how to order?" And I'm like, "Who who fucking cares? I wanted to make sure before I forget to get hot sauce. And then I threw nachos in at the end because it was like an impulse thing to throw on there. So I was just like, I didn't know that you saved the sauce for the end. But so I had a little moment of like, I hate cunty people. And my mom's like, what did you say? I'm like, nothing. Don't worry about it. And then I just gave her
shit. Well, after I left fucking, like, it was like right after I left fucking Walmart. Yeah. I had the green light to turn left, and there was a car across from me that was just gonna fucking turn right on my red. So I'm going into my fucking lane, and this piece of shit fucking cuts into the far lane, which is mine.
Yeah.
And I was like that fucking close. Like I was certain that I had hit his fucking car.
Oh. Yeah.
And he just fucking goes. Like like it never fucking happened.
Right.
So there's like that split second where like I gotta see this asshole's face. I gotta let him know that I know what he looks like.
Right.
So I fucking speed up. Like I'm speeding to see this piece of shit. And I get next to him, and it's like the oldest guy on the planet who's wearing what looks like his driving outfit.
Oh.
Like, and he does not look at me. And all I want is eye contact.
Right.
So I roll my window all the way down, and I'm hanging out of it, and I'm screaming at his fucking car. And there's a little old lady next to him whose head is maybe that high above, like, into the window. Like, she's so tiny. And she doesn't look at me either. And that pisses me off to, like, the hilt of being pissed, because just acknowledge the fact that you fucked up.
Right.
And I'm just look at me. That's all I wanted was fucking eye contact, and I got none of it. It got to, like, he turned off and pulled into a parking lot, and I kept going, and I almost turned around. Like, I almost turned around to fucking yell at this guy. But it was like, nobody fucking, like, he was just not there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's it gonna do? What's it gonna do to go yell at a fucking bazillion-year-old man?
No. Right.
I'll probably scare him. Probably give him a goddamn heart attack. I don't know.
It's murder.
Yeah. I think that the two biggest things people suffer from a lot nowadays is entitlement and the lack of self-awareness. And just having that alone, those two things are a dangerous combination. So that guy's like in his own world. He's like, fuck, I'm going to turn. And he doesn't realize how close he came to killing somebody.
He should not have been driving.
Yeah, sure. He probably shouldn't. Like, but at the same time,
like, it was.
But at the same time, he should not be driving. But at the same time, he may not even be allowed to drive. And he's like, well, if I don't go up the street to this store, me and my old wife don't eat tonight or something, because he doesn't know how to work.
They should.
Well, yeah.
Them's the rules.
I think you started a Taco Bell trend now, like going to Taco Bell and ordering the sauce.
I see that. I saw draft. Yeah. If you're going to talk about
ordering, that's a good idea. Like I would probably
get your sauce.
Not Taco Bell very often, but I could do that at Popeyes. I'm like, can I get buffalo sauce, ranch sauce?
Yeah. And two chalupas and a soft taco, please. And
and they'll be like,
a couple times we've done like the little box order thing that you can do now online.
Yeah.
Those are actually pretty fucking rad.
Yeah, I ate at Taco Bell a little too much not too long ago because they were giving away Halo shit. Like it was like, you can win an Xbox, you can win a Halo thing, and you can win this, and I'm like, I gotta eat at Taco Bell. I talk about how we need to deprogram ourselves, but yet someone mentions Halo, and I go, where is it? I'll eat there. Denny's, I love Denny's.
Oh man, this is.
Yeah.
I just want to update everyone.
How warm is that?
It's actually not that warm because it's not that warm in this room, but it's a little under half.
Nice.
It's terrible,
man.
It is. Jason Voorhees is here.
Yeah, but the problem is it makes me have to pee every 15 minutes. It's just going right through me.
That's good. You gotta
clean Trulies on this show because the show is.
You gotta walk.
Get bit by the cobra.
gotta wash your sins away. That's why it's gotta flow out.
Dude, that's a thing that me and my brothers used to say, because me and my brothers used to drink a lot of King Cobra. Was we would call each other on the phone and be like, "You want to get bit?" Like we knew we were hanging out. Like, but we also remember when they were. How much did that cost you, Justin? I'm gonna ask you how much that cost before I reveal how much I used to buy them for.
Well, I'm gonna sound real cool right now, but I didn't actually look at the price, and as I bought this, and I bought like a tall, skinny Stella for Rosina, and I bought 2 rock stars, and I just swiped my card. I don't even know how much it cost.
Oh, money's not an object, huh?
Nah,
Damn.
because you could die tomorrow, so who cares? I bought it and left.
I may die tomorrow, but I'm gonna die with a cobra in me.
We used to get so excited because they had like these big orange stickers on them, and they were 99 cents.
Ooh.
Oh wow!
Like that's why we used to jam on them, because they were fucking dirt cheap. Like you could basically finance one with a fucking couch cushion being flipped.
Bro, I used to scoop those for $1.29. I think this was like maybe $2.49. I think that's, if I had to guess, it's gonna be under 3, but not more than 3.
Damn.
I think that's a California 40. It still hasn't crossed over $3 yet, but it's over.
I still can't wrap my brain around the fact that the 2 fucking shitty gas stations that used to carry them and where I got them the most don't fucking have them at all. They don't have any fucking 40s.
Well, I remember when I was in Florida going to Full Sail, like they didn't have 40s anywhere. They didn't sell them. They only sold 32 ounces. 32s.
Did we know each other when I lived here in Florida before?
No, because I was there like I was there from like 2003 to 2004.
Oh, okay.
It was before I even moved out, because I moved to LA in 2006. Or yeah.
I asked my mom like about my trajectory around this country, and I was like, where did I go? And she's like, well, you went to Atlanta, and then in 2003 I went to Orlando. I came here to go to Full Sail, and then I guess I had a meeting with like someone who, you know, like whoever you go in and meet with, and I guess after that meeting I said, oh fuck that, I don't want to go to this school, and then I just left. They had all the final paperwork in there and everything, and I said, fuck that, I don't want to go here. So I was leaving, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll just drive to California. And my mom didn't want that to happen, I guess, so badly that she called my aunt who had a job at Disney, and she had a friend that worked in Disney broadcast. So they brought me on as a PA to a German film shoot, and unpaid. Like I worked the job 2 weeks unpaid, and then and learned, I guess, in that time like about film production, like just hands-on. And then from there, got my next job, and then I think I worked on The Punisher for like a brief time. She was saying the Thomas Jane one, and then I just kind of bounced around Orlando for a while doing like music videos and things like that. And I was like, that sounds awesome. I don't remember a single bit of it, but we found a journal. So apparently all those early jobs, I kept an actual journal, because this was before even MySpace, I think. And so I kept a journal, and I took photos from a disposable camera and just go print them out. And we found like 3 books that are just full of notes and pictures from sets I worked on. And I got to tell you, I don't know what inspired me to do that, but post-aneurysm, they were the neatest things to go back and look through. And when I moved back here last summer, my friend Josh, who I used to know when I lived here, and my friend Nathan, I had them come over, and I showed them the books. They had no idea I even made them back then. And so they were looking through, and they saw like, 20-year-old versions of themselves and stuff. And they were like, what the fuck? This is amazing. They're like, this is like seeing MySpace like in 2002 and 2003. And yeah, it was kind of fun. And so I'm glad I did that. But I always wondered that. I'm like, yeah, he lived in Orlando too when I did. And even went to the school that I was at, that I went to for a day at least. So that, yeah, I'm surprised that we met in California when we could have met here.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like I think I know the last time we hung out, which I know I'm pretty sure it was Free Comic Book Day,
Uh-huh.
and it was I want to say 20. It was either 2013 or 2014 because it was when
Okay.
I just started working at Fame Flynet, and I had stopped buying comics for like 3 years or some shit.
Yeah.
And I went with you to Golden Apple. You were like working, like volunteer working that day. And I was there with you, like hanging out all day. And I picked out like, I had like a stack of like 50 books and I had set them down and somebody grabbed them and bought them that stack.
No shit.
And I was like so mad for like days and days.
Oh.
I was like, this was me like trying to catch up on books and reintroducing myself back into comics. And I had set it down. I hadn't purchased them yet. I had set them down like near like one of the tables or some shit, and somebody just came by and was like, "Oh," and then they must have grabbed them and bought them. And then I remember because we had 8 wings. I think like across the street there was like a wing place near Golden Apple, and we had wings and shit. I think that's the last time I saw you, and that was like,
damn,
yeah.
So that was like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, it's I remember when another guy I knew here in Orlando, his name is Victor. He moved out to LA the year I had my aneurysm and was back home. And so he moved out to LA to hang out with me. And I think before I had my aneurysm, I got him like a job as a PA or something. And then I lost touch with him. And then I forgot who he was almost completely. And so when I went out back to LA, I didn't see him for like years. And he was like, dude, you're the reason I moved out here. I haven't even seen you since your, post aneurysm. So we saw each other like once or twice around then, 2012, 2013, and then nothing for years. And then finally in 2018, I was my lease was ending at an apartment, and Victor was like, hey, I saw on Instagram you're going to be homeless in a couple weeks. He's like, do you want to just move in with me? I need a roommate. I have a 2-bedroom. And I was like, oh shit. And then I got to hang out with him every day for like my last 2 years in LA. But it's like, it's funny how you can be in the same city like LA. And what's worse for me is it's me. Like, there were some people that like a lot of people I wanted to go see. And then either on a day where I could, something like I wasn't feeling well, or I got like a panic attack, or something like stupid was happening, or like even a couple times Echo like got sick. Like it would be all these things, and I'm just like, I just want to go see a person that I haven't seen. Like and I'm like, why is that so hard to do sometimes? And that's when I knew in the last 2 years I was in LA that I wasn't going to be there much longer, because my best friend in LA, Erica, she got married, and I had a seizure the morning when I was getting ready to go to her wedding, and I had a seizure, and that was my first non-absent seizure where I had a full body seizure and fell to the ground, and that was like, that's when I knew, okay, I'm just getting worse. And I can't even go and be a part of someone's wedding for a couple hours anymore. And now I have restrictions on my license. I can't drive at night. So it sucks because I work at Harley Davidson now, which is a great job, but sometimes we're there late trying to get a bike sale. You could be there for hours. And so it's like 8 p.m. tonight, and they're like, all right, you can go home now. And I'm like, fuck, well, thank God for daylight savings time, because there's still a shred of light out. So if I get pulled over, I won't get in trouble, or I won't see headlights and I won't have a seizure. So it's like, it sucks. Like my whole life is different, but that's when I knew I was like, I got to start moving closer to home. And but that's when, and then when you saying that, like I haven't seen in 8 years, I'm like, fuck, I feel like it's one of those things I'll probably regret forever, where I'm like, I wish I could have just made the time to go see people 1 or 2 more times in that 8 years.
I feel that to a degree, because but like also like people are people, and like time, I feel like as soon as you hit 30, thing is just time is just going, man, because you are literally at this point, you're a full-blown adult. You have responsibilities, you have things going through your brain, and not saying that seeing friends is not an essential thing, or not non-essential, but like to your day-to-day, just getting through, especially, and then in my case, like or anyone's case, or whoever, like if you end up in a relationship, or you end up married, or you have a child, like your priorities switch. They switch over, and it's like, okay, well, I can't do that because I have to do this, and like, and I don't get mad at, like, most of my closest friends are all in Ohio, and then the secondary tier is like in LA, and I'm not even in LA anymore. I'm in the Bay. I have no friends here other than my girlfriend, so I don't see anybody. And the pandemic was a nice excuse for not seeing anybody for a year. But even then, like, I'm just kind of accustomed to like the lifestyle of seeing my best friends only like once a year, going to Ohio. So like I'm kind of used to that. And then even when I was in LA, like when I was single, my priorities were so warped. They were just like, oh, I need to drink and go to a bar and get laid. So it was like, and then when I was in a relationship, it was like, oh, I don't want to do anything but sit here with my girlfriend. So it's just like, and like, if you didn't come to my apartment to hang out, I wasn't going out to see you. Very rare. That was kind of like, especially when I hit like 30, I was like, okay, well, everybody just needs to come to my place because I don't want to go anywhere. And that's the vibe I've been on, you know, ever since. And now that I'm kind of here on an island in a sense, friend-wise. But I don't think there's any like reason, like, it's one thing when you're like in your 20s, especially your early 20s, you see your friends all the time. I think you need that extra family dynamic that you're not getting, especially because you're just away from home in that first 10 years or whatever. But then once you get older and you're finally your own person, then it's like you don't really rely on the friends. Seeing them all the time is like a necessity. So I don't feel bad about. I mean, it sucks that you don't get to see people, because there was people in LA that I wish I would have hung out with more when I was still there. But they're not impossible to get to. I might see them again. I might see anybody again. You never know. And now with this kind of stuff, here we are. This is what we would be doing in person. Now you just don't have to smell my farts. That's the difference.
That's what you think.
My friend time is when I record the podcast. And that's kind of the thing. I was like, when, you know, because people are like, oh, why do you and Courtney do this? You're not doing it for money or anything. You're not trying to get popular. This is our time to hang out, man. Courtney's my best friend, and this is us hanging out every other weekend. We just bullshit. We have some drinks, shoot the shit, and laugh. And it's an important thing for me. So I'm happy that this technology exists, and other people get to join in on our little hangout sessions. So it's like a win-win.
That's like, my friend Alex, the same thing. We both had a bad year last year on top of everything else that was going on. And I think just because we were pulling at strings to, because now we're on opposite side of the country of each other, he was like, hey, man, I like hanging out with you. We sometimes chat on the phone. He goes, but, would you like to do a show with me? And I'm like, dude, I can't handle another show right now. I'm, with all the health stuff I'm going through, I can't do it. And then he said, well, I was like, what kind of show do you want to do? And he was like, well, I was thinking we could just hang out and watch the DC animated movies and live stream them and just talk over them like a commentary track. And I go, you know what, dude? I will make time for that. And I just was like, I'm going to make less Venom vlog episodes. I got to do that anyway. And I go, and I'm going to hang out with my buddy, and we're going to do exactly what you two guys do. And every Thursday night, Alex and I just sit and watch a DC animated movie and we talk about DC Comics over it. And what's cool is that Alex knows a little bit about DC Comics, and I'm a walking encyclopedia. So we get nice banter back and forth, and we have a lot of fun, and we love the animated movies. They're fantastic, and it's probably some of the best DC stuff that's out there is the animated stuff. So it's kind of a win-win, and I like doing it. And it really, at this point, we don't even we record them live, but they go to a private video now. And then I upload them the next day. Like, I make them public the next day. And so I'm just like, I'm not doing this for any other reason but to hang out with my buddy. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's going on?
Jesus Christ, who let you in?
Justin, he requested.
You son of a bitch.
I like how it fucking just like immediately, like, I'm like way off in the background now.
Yeah. I was not prepared to go live, so.
I was not prepared to see that because I just bent over to put a fucking beer bottle in the trash, and I lean up and I'm like, why is my room so dark? I was like, why is my room dark? And they're like, I'm not in that corner anymore.
I've never seen the 4, and I wanted to see the 4.
That's cool.
I figured that's what was going on.
We need 9 people. We need the Brady Bunch.
There was not enough beards. I was like, we need a 3rd beard.
Yeah.
We gotta keep them warm now.
Wear your
this
glasses.
screen needs more facial hair.
I don't actually wear my glasses most of the time when I'm in the house. I don't know where they're at.
You only wear them when you're doing the live stream or doing a mass shooting.
Yeah, it makes my face look a little less fat, so, you know.
Your mass shooter glasses?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
They help him see his victims better.
God, why am I so far away? Everyone's so close. There we go. Get in there, bro.
Dude,
This
I'm
is
always
cool.
super far away.
Yeah.
More ways
Just chill.
than one.
I can't sit on it like that. That's fucking gross.
Well, I got the ring light, so it just washes out all my imperfections. Not that I have any, but
Blowing.
That light'll fucking let on too.
it's like a nice beautiful wash. Although I can
Vanity.
It's like, oh, what about orange? Oh, what about blue?
Ooh. Daylight, tungsten. What you got?
Yeah, daylight.
Tungsten.
I keep it on this
I
one.
need tungsten to live.
I can go real low. This is what it should look like. Natural.
Hideous.
One. I can't believe you guys are fucking still awake for this. Like, if I was like, if it was like approaching 1 a.m., I'd be like, goodbye, losers.
Actually, it's funny. About 20 minutes ago, I looked at the time and I go, oh, fuck, I was going to leave 2 hours ago and call my mom before she went to bed. And I'm like, nope, she's asleep now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably have to go in a few minutes though, because my dog keeps coming over like, are you going to walk me or what?
You just wake your mom up and get her on here. See if we can get 5 on here.
Yeah.
My mom was.
Mom, you're on Instagram, right?
I'm gonna send her a request.
One step closer to the Brady Bunch boxes.
Yeah, she'll just come in and go. She's like, will you pussy just go to bed? Like, all right, thanks, Ma.
My dream is they get it up to like 6 or 8 boxes. Like 4 is cool, but I want like a party of people just like insane on here. Because I think that'd be more fun.
Can someone in the chat clip that where he says, my dream is to get it up?
Yep, I was thinking the same thing.
I'm glad you guys are on it.
And now my phone just was like, my phone's like, you have 15% battery left. I'm like, oh, thanks, phone. Good timing.
Yeah, I got to real bad. That's why I called Andy on to co-host while we kind of like send poor Seek to bed, and so he can get off here, and then I can go pee and see what's going on in the rest of my house.
Exactly.
And then
Absolutely.
do maybe like 20 minutes after that. This is the longest one we've done in a while.
Yeah.
Glad I was here for it.
Kudos to us.
Yeah.
You're an
Bunch of night out.
And like we didn't even have to like really talk about pies, only like for like a couple minutes.
We touched on, we put our tip into the pie, but that's about it.
We went.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. So, Seek, let's say goodbye to this guy so he can go sleep. And
thanks, and nice meeting you guys. I appreciate it very, very much.
Dude, it was super great talking with you, man.
Like I said,
Thanks
like I
for
tell
coming on.
everybody, like if we're ever on and you see it and you want to come on and like we're talking about something and you want to chime in, always hit that request and we'll fucking have you on. But I'm gonna pee and then I'll come back. Obviously, I'm just gonna leave the room and then walk back. Oh yeah, we got what's going on? It's down here, blast with y'all. Yeah, man. Weeby Toys. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Weeby.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go watch Justin P, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right, man. Thank you again for coming
Thanks,
on
dude.
with us.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Later.
Dude.
Hey, man.
And
Do
it's
you
back
want to
to
read now?
just a very close up of my face.
Oh wait, here's the piece. I'll do the tape.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, there we go. Sort of. There we. All right, I'm gonna pee. You guys host the show.
Just take it to the bathroom with you, like I do.
Right, yeah. He's, we got to see his thing last week. That was pretty cool.
It happens.
Yeah, I actually screen recorded it so that I could play it back and like listen to it in my sleep like a waterfall.
That's your white noise.
Yeah. Well, you got a white penis, so it kind of works. Yeah.
It just makes sense. So.
That dude was cool though, man. That was
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah, we had to jump on a little bit later than we were going to. We were recording some wrestling thing for commentary we do thing. So
Oh nice.
That's why we were a little bit late.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Is that local one you guys are working with?
Yeah. So we do a once a month we go and we do commentary for the wrestling promotion, and then we also do a podcast leading up to the show a week earlier where we kind of preview all the matches, try to get it hyped up a little bit.
Where do they do that out of? Where do they do their matches and shit?
It's out of Sarasota. It's out of like a gym, like a local gym that they do.
Okay.
Like a workout type gym place. And they put a ring in the middle of it and they just move everything else around. They set up a little desk for us to kind of do commentary at. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Videos on YouTube with us calling some matches.
So they film everything, or they just?
It's a work in progress. It's a startup wrestling. I mean, they've had 3 shows. This will be the 4th show. But yeah, I mean, definitely on the come up. So it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking fun.
Because I thought I was going to be a sports commentator when I was growing up, right? But like now I'm doing podcasts and we do a draft podcast, except we never draft sports for the most part. And then we're calling wrestling matches. So pretty crazy.
That's great.
Yeah. So when did you move into the new house?
Last weekend, we got all the furniture and stuff in. I had taken most of last week off to do it. So I think it was like Tuesday morning I got home and just started throwing shit in the fucking car and bringing it over. Because we had gotten the keys like the Friday prior. And we weren't really doing a whole lot that weekend. And then when I went back to work, I found out that it was going to be kind of a short week anyway. So I was like, fuck it. Because I really was just taking off like the Thursday and Friday. And then I said, fuck it. And I threw like the couple extra days on it. So I ended up taking Tuesday through this last Monday. I took off and we got most of it squared away. Today was a good day of putting shit away. But
that room, your like little room that's yours, where you get to go to and it's your shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually sleeping in it.
Oh, well, there you go.
Just, like our old house, I had the same thing. I had my own room and everything, but it eventually just became like a catch-all, and that's why I was doing most of the streams in the fucking kitchen. It was just like. There was shit everywhere in that other fucking room.
Yeah.
And then now it's like this is all that stuff, but it's kind of put away. And I don't know. It's just me and my wife are on different schedules. So
hey, same. The reason I can do shit like this is because my wife's a night nurse. So
yeah.
So she's working at nights on weekends pretty much every week. So I watch the kids.
You're married to Marvel Comics Night Nurse?
Yeah, exactly. Gregory Isaac's night nurse.
But yeah, like there's no chance I could like go upstairs and just like crawl into bed with her and not have her go like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't sleep. I wouldn't be asleep.
Yeah, I mess around on my phone or whatever. Like, I'll turn off the TV and then I'm on my phone for a couple hours, just like watching YouTube videos and shit like that before I go to bed. Because she'll go to bed way earlier than me. I mean, it's 1 o'clock and I'm probably not going to go to bed for another hour. So,
Yeah. Like, I'll probably be up until the fucking sun comes up and then sleep until I gotta go to fucking work tomorrow night.
What are you doing, Pogs, by yourself?
Pogs.
You got some new slammers.
Remember Al? Now he's back. Pog form.
You playing Pencil Break by yourself?
I'm back.
Always.
What you got?
Always.
Shit,
Look at that
I know.
handsome boy.
He says no. Oh, he says I'm not interested.
Look at that handsome boy.
Look at
Leo.
the camera.
Leo.
He
You
does not
son of
like.
a
He
bitch.
hates the camera. Hates the phone. Does not.
What a weirdo.
Oh, we were talking about this potentially coming up. We were going to try to do it last year. Obviously, last year happened. I don't know if it'll happen this year, but within the next 18 months or whatever, we were talking about trying to do a show maybe up there where you guys are at, because at least we'd have like a crowd of people that would definitely show up. You know?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about trying to do something like that, which is pretty dope to put together some live show where we do a live draft and do it from some venue up there where you guys are at.
That'd be
I'm in
fucking awesome.
California.
Yeah, we're definitely
I
not
don't know
doing.
what you mean about you guys, but
He met me in Wes.
oh, so not cool people in a not cool area. I get it.
Well, you could fly in, you know.
There's always that.
Yeah, good.
They'll spend that draft pod money and fucking fly you in.
Yeah, sure. Put me in business class.
Biz.
Anyway,
We could do under the Nerdicide credit card.
oh, it's giving me a 2-minute warning.
Oh, really?
It's giving me a 2-minute warning. I guess 4 hours is the limit, which is good because
That's
4
the
hours
new limit,
is my
huh?
limit.
Yeah, it's good to know.
We had some other things we were going to talk about, but we're not going to get to it because I am exhausted and I'm tired of seeing my own face. And you guys feel free if you want to get back on and you do your own thing, but I'm calling it. I still haven't eaten dinner, and I'm going to go relax. But this was fun. Shout out Seek. Killed it. He was only supposed to do like an hour and a half, did like 4 hours. Kudos to him.
Fuck, cool dude.
And yeah, so we have other. God, I got a minute. This clock is so much pressure. God, I'm crumbling. Yeah, we'll
Look at
get
him
to
just
the things.
waste
We
it.
were gonna play a fun horror movie game idea thing. We'll do it next time. And until then, goodbye, one and all. Everybody, go to bed. Don't stay up till dawn. There's no reason for it.
Well, I'm going to, so whatever.
I'm gonna stay up till midnight. Okay, 40 seconds. Courtney, I love you. Andy, you're okay.
Love you too, buddy.
And we'll catch you on the next episode of Pies.
Later.
Peace.
Pie aside.
Pie aside.
Bye, guy. I love you, bud.
Love you.